Make sure that they're set. It's getting a little colder here in North London, Northwest London, under the Wembley Arch, as this late afternoon kickoff gets underway. Arsenal attacking the goal away to our left as we watch it from the gantry Wembley in familiar red and white. Manchester City in their usual sky blue with white shorts and blue socks. Well, will Arsenal make the running here? Will it be City who sit back and do something a little bit different? That what really struck me in the league game earlier this season, Adrian, as you pointed out at the time at the Emirates, it was a different City.
Very different.
Maybe they've morphed back into what they once were as Pep Guardiola's looked for the right sort of formula here. The ball's being knocked straight out of play by Kusanov, and it's going to be a throw into Arsenal. Do you think Arsenal are going to be more aggressive on the front foot?
I think that City will be a bit bolder than they were at Emirates. Surely they have to be at 33% of possession that day. And they've picked an attacking lineup that isn't really made to not have the ball. So I think that it'll be more like the traditional City that we're used to facing. It also looks like a reversion to 4-3-3 for Manchester City. They've played with a 4-1-3-2 of late. But for me, the way they've lined up, Haaland's the lone striker, Semenyo wide right, Doku wide left. This is different to what we've seen from City in recent weeks.
Well, it's going to be interesting from an Arsenal point of view, because we know that the Gunners in that game were the better side, but Haaland, of course, stamped his authority on it very early. But he's a player that's been out of form, considering his numbers. Hasn't been the same sort of striker that he was in the autumn, running into the winter and at the start of the season, and he's never scored at Wembley. It's a stat that's been put out an awful lot here in 6 occasions. Whether he's overawed on the biggest stage, I'm not quite so sure.
Yeah, I'm not
but
sure about that.
I'm sure that Arsenal will have to keep their tabs on him, and Gabriel will always rise to the challenge. Arsenal looking to come forward. The flag is up as Gyökeres tries to move into top gear. Flag going up really quickly, right in line to where we are.
Yeah, we're right in line with that.
Tight.
It was tight, but my instinct told me that Victor Gyökeres was just a fraction offside. Just went a little bit early, Victor, but it's encouraging the fact that he had so much space to run into there.
Seen with a free kick, it's taken long towards Doku. He's not going to get to that, and the ball bounces out of play.
I don't know what Bernardo Silva saw there. That was absolutely bizarre. But yeah, really encouraging into Havertz. Havertz then plays the ball pretty early in behind for Victor Gyökeres. He is a fraction offside, but that move, that tactic, I think could really work for us here today.
It is Arsenal's 50th match of the season, would you believe? It's been an extraordinary campaign already. Just 3 defeats, of course, in the previous 49. Kepa looks to punt it long. He's lost a couple of League Cup finals for Chelsea here, of course, and now Zubimendi. Here is Gabriel from Saliba's touch of the 2 centre-halves. Get an early feel of the football. Slow start, the opening 3 minutes here. Saliba has the ball at his feet, just outside of the Arsenal penalty area. Waits and then looks to feed it towards Ben White. Doku closes in. Now it's with Saliba once again. It's not really a press from Manchester City. They've got personnel in advanced areas, but I wouldn't say they're really putting those Arsenal defenders under any sort of pressure. The press comes
calm,
now.
Semenyo. That was calm from Kepa.
Looks to put Kepa under pressure, manages to find Gabriel.
Yeah, that was a little bit hairy. They're edging closer, aren't they, on this press? But we're determined to play out from the back, and we've done so well.
Here is Havertz, looks to play it forward towards Gyökeres. It's Nathan Ake that will play it forward towards Doku, beaten in the air by Saliba. The ball bounces for Ben White over on the right-hand side, and it's not long towards Gyökeres once again. He might be able to get in behind here. Nathan Ake struggling to get back. He's still Gyökeres to pull it back, and he's cleared away. Kusanov, was he fouled? The ball pops up for Trafford. That's going to be a free kick anyway. It's
really unfortunate for Kai Havertz. It's a great run. We talked about it earlier with Victor Gyökeres. Will he get space in down the side of Nico Riley, down the side of Nathan Ake? It's a great ball from Ben White, down that right channel. He races to the byline, and he cuts it back well for Havertz, who's never favourite to get there. And he does, I think, catch the player, and it's a free kick inside the City box. But when I talked earlier, I said we might go a bit more direct today. That's the kind of move that I had in mind.
Trafford goes long. There's always that debate as to whether both of these second choice keepers were going to play, but they are, as Gyökeres looks to come forward here. It's another positive run from the Swede, just runs into a bit of traffic. Manchester City have it again. Aki plays it to the left-hand side, and Bernardo Silva scoops it forward for Haaland to challenge Saliba. Saliba gets the better of that particular duel, and now an early touch for Declan Rice. Here is Zubimendi, central position, just inside Arsenal territory, plays it to the right-hand side, doesn't realise that Ben White is not quite as far forward as he thought he was, and he knocks it out of play. City throw.
These things happen. You make yourself a little bit silly, but yeah, it's just a simple 5-yard pass, but White wasn't expecting it. It runs out for a throw, but I think by and large a good start from Arsenal. Very composed, in control, and we've caused City a couple of problems, haven't we? So yeah, no score, no major action, but we've absolutely been the team that's in control of the first 6 minutes or so here.
City without a winning 3, of course, beaten home and away by Real Madrid in the end. Disappointing 5-1 aggregate exit in the Champions League as Arsenal get a throw, and it's taken towards Havertz. Havertz looks to play the ball infield. It's a good block from Ake. Havertz has another opportunity. Now it's with Saka. Havertz once more, who's busy inside the opening 6 minutes. Good to see him on the ball in that number 10 role, with Eze and Odegaard, of course, both missing. Here is Declan Rice. Scored that brilliant goal against Leverkusen last time out. And made his Arsenal debut at Wembley, of course, in the Community Shield against City. Saka looking to play it back. White has it, flicks it forward. It's flicked through, and an effort from Havertz is saved by Trafford. Another opportunity for Saka, it's saved by Trafford again. Well, the flag, I expected to go up, it never did. Arsenal with 2 big opportunities, and then it bounces through towards the City keeper once again.
Wow.
What an opportunity, times 2, times 3.
Yeah, look, James Trafford does brilliantly. Oh, I can't believe we haven't taken the lead there. Oh, absolute agony. It was a good, patient build-up. White took a heavy touch, and he nicks it through the legs to Zubimendi. He plays it in Havertz, and Havertz should score. Saka then has 2 goes at it, and Trafford saves on both occasions. 3 saves there in the space of 2 seconds. Unbelievable, really. But Havertz, I think once he's there, he's got to hit it a little bit harder. It was a tentative finish that the goalkeeper did really well to stop.
Yeah, expected the flag to go up, but he was onside. He was onside by a good half a metre. Here is Nathan Ake into the starting lineup because of injuries and ineligibility, of course, in the case of Mark Gay. Ake has got a lot of experience, but he's been more out than in this season. Just 4 Premier League starts. Here is Rodri, who's had his own injury issues, plays it over to the left-hand side. Let's see what City can do from this position. They just slow it down a little bit here, Manchester City. Kusanov, the Uzbekistan international, will be represented, of course, in the World Cup in the summer. Up towards Rodri. Now it's with Nunez on this right-hand side. Forward towards Semenyo, who's been such a good signing for Manchester City, having scored 10 goals in the Premier League for Bournemouth, of course, and was always a thorn in the Arsenal defence's side when he played for the Cherries. Ball's gone out of play for a City throw here, just below our commentary position, and Nunez will take. Wait. It's a bit of movement in front of him. Bernardo Silva is free if required. It's over the heads of the Portuguese, who was red carded, of course, against Real Madrid. Here is Havertz. Bernardo Silva does well. Finds Nico O'Reilly, who will come racing forward over on the left-hand side. He's got Doku outside it towards Rodri. Bernardo Silva next door. Here is Kusanov. A lot of experience in that engine room for Manchester City, but maybe not the legs that they once had in Rodri and Bernardo Silva.
No, they can still get around the pitch. Trust me, their numbers are very, very strong in terms of the distances they cover. But yeah, maybe not as sharp. And look, Rodri's not the player he used to be, and I think you'd probably say the same for Bernardo Silva. So yeah, potentially that's an area where we've got Rice and Zubimendi there, where Havertz just dropping in. That's an area we could dominate. I think we've certainly started well. Got the ball into Havertz a few times. Good challenge there from Kai. Doesn't quite get it, but it's decent enough.
Manchester City come forwards. Bernardo Silva with the ball at his feet. He's got Semenyo just outside him here. Here's Antoine Semenyo edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Bruno Silva again looking to move from right to left. No real outball for him towards goal. Has to play it back towards the right-hand side. Get another go to try and curl it in. Rodri does. It's towards Haaland. It's cleared away to the edge of the penalty area. That's going to be a free kick for Arsenal inside their own box.
Yeah, it was good defensive header from William Saliba, but he was fouled in the end, and then Kepa goes long to white. That's terrific play.
Here is Saka driving forward, looking to play Gyökeres in, but a good block from Nathan Ake comes back out to white.
Their line is high. You know, there is space for Victor Gyökeres. He's got a brilliant view up here of that City rear guard, and I think there is space for Gyökeres, particularly to run in behind Ake. Kusanov is rapid. I would choose Ake every day.
Trossard, left-hand side for Arsenal, takes a touch. First time that he's been involved. This is Declan Rice. We've had 10.5 minutes here at Wembley. 0-0 in the League Cup final. O'Reilly is quick to nick the ball away from Saka, but illegally so. That's going to be a free kick. Always would suggest that O'Reilly is good going forward, but maybe not so good in situations like that. Same with Michael Nunes on the side.
Yeah, Nunes for sure. I think on that occasion he does go through the back of Bukayo Saka, so it's a definite foul. They have a habit of doing that to Bukayo Saka, don't they? I rate Nick O'Reilly. I think he's a really good prospect, and it's not an easy game for Saka today. But the way that we've set about our work here is encouraging.
Arsenal have got a free kick, and Havertz, Gyökeres, and Nketiah far side here for Declan Rice to try and curl in. Manchester City with a line of 7 players to try and keep out this Gunners set piece. Rice to curl in, outswinger clear to the edge of the penalty area, picked up by Trossard with a shot, takes a deflection, spins away, goes out for a corner.
Yep, he did his best, didn't he, Bernardo Silva, to get there. But yeah, it was good control on the edge of the box as that free kick from Rice was half cleared. Trossard, good touch, fires his shot away, takes a big hefty deflection and spins out for a corner. And of course, City are bound to be very apprehensive every time that Arsenal have a corner. Interested here, in the past we've crowded the goalkeeper. Not to do that here.
Today. Saliba's closest to Trafford, who potentially could be a bit weak in situations like this, but once again Arsenal runners from out to in here. Gyökeres, Havertz, Nketiah, Zubimendi always driven in, and he's cleared away as far as Havertz on his near side, and Koki goes, Semenyo gets a touch and he's out for a throw. Yeah, that was a variation in the league, wasn't the easiest we were expecting.
Something slightly different. But didn't beat the first man. Rice now has a long throw. And the big players have just stayed forward, haven't they?
So Rice left-hand side, 10 yards away from the corner flag, wipes the ball, waits. Arsenal have got plenty inside the 6-yard box this time around. It's long, it's cleared away by Semenyo. Cherki is off in pursuit, back towards Rice via Ben White. Look at another touch here, pull back on the left-hand side at the moment. Looks for a big dash onto the right flank, but overhits that one and it goes out of play for a City throw. Fairly happy, though, with the way that Arsenal have gone about their business first 13 minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, it's kind of 50-50 in terms of possession. We've had those 3 shots, 3 shots on target as well. That triple save from James Trafford keeps the score at 0-0, doesn't it? I think Havertz really should have scored. I think for Saka, they were half chances, weren't they, on the follow-up? But in general, I would say that we've settled much better than Manchester City. We've had 5 touches in their box. They haven't got into our box as yet.
First Wembley appearance for the Gunners since beating Manchester City in that shootout in the Community Shield in 2023. Here is Ake for Manchester City. Bernardo Silva towards Rodri. Inside is Nunez. Cherki has come forward. He's Semenyo back towards Nunez once again. It's over the head of Ryan Cherki. And it's easy for Saliba to come across and deal with the danger. 14 minutes in here, 0-0. And Gabriel with the ball at his feet. Forward for Rice. Now it's Nketiah. Arsenal playing with a pretty combination for sure. It's clear at the top of the table, of course, 16 seconds. This could be one hell of a season. Already is to his earnings.
No, it's only a hell of a season if we win big silverware. And look, the first pot is up for grabs here today. What I like about the performance so far is everyone wants to touch the ball. Everyone's really confident. They want to be a part of it. They want to make a difference. No one, you'd say, has been really quiet until this point.
Doku against White. It's going to be an intriguing battle if Jeremy Doku gets plenty of the ball, and then poor touch from the Belgian winger. And Arsenal have possession. It's going to be a free kick. As Trossard was brought down.
Bernardo Silva, it's no surprise. It's Bernardo Silva. Loves the dark arts. Portuguese player, very experienced, of course.
Meanwhile, with the situation here, as Nunez goes down, and it's a yellow card for Nkapie. Well, I'd like to see that one again. Does it deserve a caution?
Well, he was quite aggressive in the way that he went to close down, and I think he got there just a fraction late, unfortunately, Nkapie's. I think he's unlucky to get a caution. Let's have a look. It's a loose touch from Nunez, so that gives Nkapie encouragement, and he catches him a bit late. But the thing is that I think Nunez slips. Look, he loses his footing.
I don't think that's a yellow card. It's a foul, but I don't think it's a yellow card.
Yeah, he loses his footing, doesn't he? And that makes it look much, much worse than it actually is. So I think Peter Banks has made a bit of a mistake there.
Bernardo Silva's picked up 7 yellow cards in his time at City against Arsenal, but it's Nkapie in red and white that picks up the first caution of the game here. Here is Kusanov, who Guardiola is beginning to trust a little bit more after a fairly nervy start to his City career when he first came from Lens just over a year ago. Here is Nunez, who of course came as a midfielder, now very much a right back, former Sporting Wolves player. And now Rodri, left-footed, looking to try and find Doku, nodded away by Ben White. Rodri is there again to flick it forward, but that should be easy for Gabriel and is. Now it's with Trossard to lay it off, and Nkapie down the line, and Gyökeres is on the move, but Kusanov has got pace to get there ahead of Victor Gyökeres. And now this is James Trafford inside his own 6-yard box. Plays it over to the left-hand side. I don't think it was meant for Doku, but Doku has got there first and then loses out.
Yeah, Zubimendi did ever so well there, closed down. It's Bernardo on Saka. I think Arsenal fans are saying, well, come on.
Yeah.
That's twice now. He just impeded someone on the quick restart, stopped the quick restart, then he's made that foul. Let's keep a little running tally, shall we, on Bernardo Silva.
Yeah. 4 League Cup successes for Bernardo Silva. That red card in midweek, incidentally, his first career red, believe it or not.
I can't believe that.
I know. Triple check that one.
I think he's had a few nights. He's like a cat, isn't he? He's had a few lives.
Free kick Arsenal then, midway inside the Manchester City half, right-hand side. Declan Rice has placed this one. It's about 10 yards in from the touchline. And Declan just places it a few inches forward. Now, referee here, Peter Banks, standing a word with a couple of players on the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. Saliba and Gabriel are both up. Rice to curl in, it's high, it's nodded away by Haaland. It's come back out towards Ben White, feeds it cleverly for Saka on that right-hand side. It's on his left side, it's still Bukayo Saka, runs into a bit of trouble, still has it though. Saka looks to try and play Trossard in here. Now it's with Nkapie, and eventually it's come to Gabriel, who does get the cross in, but it's cleared away. Here is Semenyo, who runs into Zubimendi. That's going to be a free kick. We've got a City player down on the far side as well. I think City lucky to get the decision there. Zubimendi unlucky.
I think so. Good period of pressure, wasn't it? I love that pass from White into Saka on the corner of the box. And as he ducks inside his man, I'm thinking just wrap your left foot around it. Can he get his shot away? And he just hesitated.
Yeah, it's Saka that catches Shirky, isn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing in it really. I mean, the ref didn't blow up for that.
Nope.
No, he didn't blow up, and he's absolutely fine. But yeah, could Saka have let Fried out? I think he maybe could have done.
Nunez for Manchester City. Now it's with Kusanov just outside of the Manchester City penalty area. Here is Bernardo Silva back to Kusanov, and now James Trafford. Did start the first 3 Premier League games this season, hasn't been trusted in the top flight games since. Manchester City with Nunez on the move, right-hand side. He's got Semenyo outside him. Here is Antoine Semenyo looking to run it. Nkapie drops the shoulder, gets to the byline, gets the cross in. Haaland can't make it his. Doku will pick it up. Here is Jeremy Doku. Can he get the cross in? It's blocked. It's up for a City corner.
was brilliant wing play, wasn't it, from Antoine Semenyo. Does a little scissor, goes to the right-hand side, takes it past KIVEE, which isn't easy to do, as we know he's rapid, and the ball is a peach. It's an absolutely brilliant ball. And Erling Haaland, he's a whisker away from getting on the end of it, and if he gets any contact, that's in.
Manchester City corner, left-hand side. Checking to curl this one in. Easy claim for Kepa. Can he get anyone on the move here? He's rolled it out for Havertz to stride forward. He's got Saka to his right. Here is Saka. Trossard calling for it. Rice joining in. Rice has it, plays it forward. It's a poor ball. We've got an Arsenal player down here. I thought the referee might pull it back. It was a poor ball eventually. Rice seemed to lose his footing a little bit. It's going to be a goal kick, but Saka's down.
Yeah, he's down. We hope he's okay. Oh, he's struggling to get up. I think he'll be okay. But yeah, that was disappointing because Rice gets into a really good position. And I think he's in too much of a hurry to slip the ball to Trossard. Could he carry it there? Drive inside, maybe have a shot himself. We know how good Rice is. It was a really good run from Havertz. So Kepa claimed it, didn't he? Rolled it straight out to Havertz. And that's where the attack came from. It's
just a coming together, really, isn't it, of Doku and Saka? It's an odd one.
It's just a knock on the back of the neck, I think, for Saka. Hopefully he's okay. Again, another encouraging moment, I think, for us. Obviously, the Semenyo piece of play and the cross for Haaland is a little bit of a warning of what they're going to bring. But I think, by and large, we've been the stronger side.
10th meeting in this competition between the two. Arsenal have won 5, Manchester City 4. City, though, have won the last 4 League Cup ties, scoring 11, conceding just the one. The last one, December 2020, a 4-1 win at the Emirates. Here is Trafford long for Haaland, who's wrestling away with Saliba. Saliba wins that physical battle. And then it's not long by Zubimendi. Kusanov with a header up into the air. Havertz likewise. Rodri tries to nod it down. And then Bernardo Silva. And now Doku come forward for Manchester City. The Belgian, he's had 1 or 2 injury issues this season. We know he's rapid on that left-hand side. Hasn't always got the end product. Here is Kusanov now for Manchester City. Gyökeres approaches. Nunez to take over. Semenyo right-hand side. Nunez plays it back towards Kusanov, still deep inside Manchester City territory. Now it's with Rodri. Again, Arsenal got players in good areas here to put City under a bit of pressure as they try and play out from the back. Rodri once more. O'Reilly looking to get Doku in here. Saliba across quickly, makes the sliding challenge. Manchester City have a throw.
Yeah, very good cover play there. He just anticipated it nice and early. William Saliba, he's got his hands full today, obviously with Erling Haaland, but he started as you'd want him to. 22 minutes in. I mean, the game's flying, halfway through the first half already. And 4 shots to nil from our end.
Here is Nunez. Last time that Arsenal beat City in the League Cup, October 2004, 3rd round. Robin van Persie, Danny Carbassiyoun scoring for Arsenal. Here is Semenyo. Now it's with Nunez. On the halfway line is Kusanov. Inside the centre circle, just inside Arsenal territory. Curled forward towards Semenyo, nodded away by Gabriel. Trossard is there, looks to try and turn his man. Plays it forward for Gyökeres to get on the move, but Kusanov is favourite to get there first and does.
Yeah, he had a 5-yard head start and he's quick, Kusanov.
So he's quick, isn't he?
No, he's one of the quickest defenders in the Premier League. I've seen all the stats and he's right up there. You aren't going to find many quicker. So if I'm Victor Gyökeres, I'm much more inclined to try and make those channel runs off Ake on the other side of the pitch. There he was in though. It was just actually quite a poor pass to Gyökeres. It was over here.
City, of course, won the last League Cup final that Arsenal were in, a 3-0 success back in 2018. It's the only time that City have beaten Arsenal at Wembley. They've gone successful on 4 other occasions. Here is Declan Rice for Arsenal, 24.5 minutes in here. No goals. Arsenal have had the best chances. tit-tat style, 3 in quick succession from Havertz and Saka ×2. Outside of that, what should do about 0-0. Here is Gabriel on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Again, there's personnel from City, but you won't call it a significant press edge, and I don't know what it is.
Well, they're trying to tempt us, aren't they? There's a bit of cat and mouse going on here. And what they're doing, they're taking up positions where we're unable to feed it into the midfielders, really. It's clever positioning, because they're forcing us to maybe go a little bit longer here. I think the pass is on over there to White. Havertz is sort of holding the width on that right-hand side. Saka's coming to central midfield, look, to try and get the ball.
Yeah, the passing lanes are blocked at the moment. This is Gabriel. Now it's with Declan Rice, left-hand side, left-back position pretty much. Gabriel still inside the Arsenal penalty area. And then back towards Kepa. Short for Saliba. Doku and Haaland are there. Saliba back for Gabriel, just outside of the Arsenal 6-yard box.
Yeah, we're not making any headway, are we, really?
And then Gabriel knocks it long, it's poor. Straight to Bernardo Silva. Here is Semenyo inside the box, and it's cleared away. Good defensive work from Gabriel. Nunez has it now. City quick to fire into top gear once they want it back after that mistake from Gabriel.
Waiting for it, weren't they?
Yeah.
Waiting to pounce. They basically, they made us be so patient there. In the end, we ran out of patience. Gabriel makes a poor pass and bang, they're on you, aren't they, in a flash. That's the danger. And that's why the players are knocking it around, because they know that one loose pass could be really damaging.
Must be one of those things, you've got to keep patient, but you want to try and play the ball forward. It's not easy.
No, it's a sort of test of nerve as well as technique.
Here is Semenyo, who's got great technique away from Nketiah. Now it's with Cherki. Here is Semenyo once again, and Cherki calling for it back. He's got 10 assists in all competitions this season in his first campaign in English football. Rodri, Nunez. Mendy's gone down. Play continues though with Nico O'Reilly who come in field. Now it's with Doku left-hand side against Ben White. Left wing for Manchester City. Doku trying to get away from Ben White here. Ben White stands his ground. Is still goal side. Doku has it. Now it's with Nathan Aki. 4 inside the penalty area for Manchester City here. Tap back towards Rodri, who turns away from Havertz and Saka. This is Doku. Now it's O'Reilly. Rodri again here. Manchester City beginning to put 1 or 2 passes together. Cherki on the right-hand side up against Nketiah, looking to float the ball inside the box. It hits Trossard. City get a kind bounce. Kusanov. And now it's with Nunez once again. Better spell from Manchester City.
Definitely a better spell. And I think if you look at the possession stats, I think it's about 60-40 now in City's favour. So they've got more of the ball. And look, Semenyo in particular looks threatening, doesn't he? I think Nketiah is not having an easy time up against him.
Here is Semenyo again on the right-hand side, gets away from Nketiah inside the penalty area, looks to pull it back, wins a corner. Good defensive cover from Gabriel, but Nketiah's been beaten twice now.
Yeah, right on cue, wasn't it? He's struggling to get tight enough maybe to Semenyo. He's a little bit worried about him. And there, he kind of dives in and he takes it past him to the byline. It's another really good intervention from Gabriel Magalhaes. That's 2 from him in the last 2 or 3 minutes. The Brazilian showing real resilience, as he always does.
Corner to be taken here then, right-hand side, up goes the signal. Bernardo Silva's going to curl this one in. It's towards the far post and it's nodded away by Saliba. And then Saka and Doku go shoulder to shoulder, and Bukayo Saka shows real strength. Finds Saliba, hurriedly clears, but it still might work out. This is Havertz to flick it on, and then Trossard likewise. Was he fouled? Referee says yes.
Yeah, we'll take that. It's another foul. Who's made that foul?
Well, it was Bernardo Silva again, wasn't it? Well, Haaland is across to complain.
He's holding his thigh here. Let's have a
They
look.
jump together, don't they, here, Bernardo Silva and
No,
Trossard.
it's naughty, isn't it?
But Bernardo Silva's got no interest in winning the ball, only looking to take out the man.
Does it all the time. Does it all of the time. And he gets away with it almost all of the time. You don't want him on your team. Don't get me wrong, because he's a master at sort of getting up the nose of opposition and escaping with referees. That's 3 naughty little fouls from him already in the game.
Well, City have scored in 14 of their last 15, but no clean sheets in their last 5. They've been a little leaky recently. There's 24 clean sheets in 49 games all told, but obviously the vast majority when David Raya has been between the sticks. Here is Havertz though for Arsenal on the halfway line. Saka had come infield, and then a crossfield ball from Ben White, hoping to hit Trossard, who flicks it for Gyökeres to chase. Gussanov is across, and it's gone out for an Arsenal.
Yeah, that was good. It's a nice idea from Ben White, but Gyökeres did well. He put Gussanov under pressure, and without that little darting run, Gussanov just deals with it, but instead he has to put it out for a throw, and we go again.
Let's have had clean sheets in the last 2, of course. Oh, Manchester City win it. Saka goes down, and then Declan Rice slides in to win it momentarily. City have it again though with O'Reilly on the left-hand side. That's good footwork from the England international. Cherki forwards, Haaland on the move, and still has it. Haaland looking to muscle his way towards the Arsenal penalty area, runs out of room. Arsenal have it. Kepa knots it long. Havertz and Ake both jump for that one. It falls for Gyökeres, and then a sliding challenge coming in from Kusanov that catches Gyökeres, and this is going to be a yellow card for the Uzbekistan international.
Yeah, I think it has to be. It was cynical because they left themselves 2v2, and Havertz flicks the header on for Gyökeres, and he's got away from Kusanov, and he decides to chop him down. It's a really aggressive challenge, too aggressive, really, from him. He might get some of the ball, but he gets a lot of victor as well.
He's just come through the player, hasn't he, effectively?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a poor challenge. He's looking to take both man and ball in that order, which is obviously going to be a caution. So he goes into the book. Nketiah cautioned as well earlier in this first half. 31, nearly 32 minutes in. So a free kick for Arsenal, midway inside the Manchester City half, right-hand side. It's only around about 3 yards in from the touchline. And once again, Arsenal line up with Havertz and Gabriel and Saliba on the edge of the penalty area, the edge of the D. Gyökeres likewise, Nketiah as well. Movement from outside to in. Manchester City with a line of 7 on the edge of their own penalty area. Outswinger from Declan Rice, and it comes nodded away to the edge of the area. Comes back out towards Rice on that right-hand side, who finds Ben White near the halfway line. Now it's with Kepa inside Arsenal territory, curls it to this near side, and Gabriel's header is good, and Gyökeres might be in, but Ake comes across really well. That's a smart challenge and clearance from the Dutchman.
Yeah, really nice football, good angles there. Kepa out wide to Gabriel. It's a great header from the big Brazilian inside to Gyökeres, who stays onside. Good first touch. He has to work hard, doesn't he, Ake, to recover that. It's out for a throw, and it's a bit closer to the corner flag than Declan realises, but
might want the angle maybe here.
Yeah, maybe.
So Rice with a long throw to the edge of the 6-yard box, nodded away by Ake once again, nodded back in by Nketiah. Gyökeres beaten in the air, cleared away by Ryan Cherki towards Doku, but White spots the danger, comes back, and now finds Kepa way outside of his area, but in no real hurry to knock it long. Eventually he does though to this near side, and Rice, but Gabriel off the ball has fouled Nunez. That's going to be a free kick to Manchester City. It's got a little bit stop-start, hasn't it?
Yeah, a bit fractious. Yeah, these are two rivals, two enemies as such, and it's bound to be a little bit of an edge to it. I do think that City have got away with a few. They've been far more aggressive than us, I would say. Well, they've gone over the line a little bit more than us. I wouldn't say the referee sort of collared onto that quite yet.
Nunez for Manchester City, Semenyo for Cherki, back towards Nunez on the edge of his own penalty area. Now it's with Ryan Cherki again, flicks it infield for Bernardo Silva. Back now for Nunez, up against Trossard, spins, nearly loses possession, does lose possession. Gyökeres just can't take it on. And now Ryan Cherki has it for Manchester City towards Nico O'Reilly on the left-hand side. Zubimendi is back goal side, Doku is free alongside O'Reilly. Here is Jeremy Doku looking to run at Ben White, edge of the penalty area, inside the box, plays a clever ball back here for Bernardo Silva, curls it for Haaland, cleared away by Gabriel. Declan Rice has it, surrounded by blue shirts. Rice though does well against Haaland and Rodri, and then Nkapie will clear, Kusanov will nod it back, Rice will take it down. Tempo has just been upped a little bit here from both teams. 10 minutes to go until half-time. Gabriel clears long, Havertz underneath it, Kusanov jumps in again, referee doesn't give a free kick. Here is Bernardo Silva. And now it's with Rodri. Without Achilles for a long time, doesn't quite look the same player, does he, the Spanish international? Still got quality on the ball. Here he is looking for O'Reilly. And now Rodri again. Doku, O'Reilly, left-hand side, 15 yards inside the Arsenal half. Left flank at the minute, City probe away. Rodri plays it back to the centre circle for Kusanov, and now it's with Nunez. Here is Semenyo. Semenyo beaten to it by Nkapie, and now it's with Trossard. Flicks it forward for Gyökeres. Shoulder to shoulder with Kusanov. Gyökeres does well, and then Cherki comes to win it back against Nkapie. He'll have to watch himself here. And Cherki does well. Nkapie jockeys.
Yeah, he's going to have to do a lot of jockeying, isn't he, on that yellow card?
Can't dive in. Here is Bernardo Silva. Yeah, runs into Zubimendi. Now it's with Trossard. And eventually for Havertz. Here is Saka. 1-on-1 against O'Reilly here. Can he take on Nico O'Reilly? Still Saka has it. Tries to nick it inside of O'Reilly. O'Reilly gets the challenge in. It's out for a corner.
Yeah, that'll do. Good play. Good play from Arsenal. Smoothly worked it towards Saka, and yeah, he's looked confident in the 1v1s. I'm looking around at the players, and I think maybe barring Nkapie, you know, all of them are very comfortable at the moment, playing well, making good contributions. Zubimendi's broken up, played well a few times. Rice has been quite a dominant figure. Gabriel and Saliba look good. Gyökeres has had some moments, Havertz too. So yeah, it hasn't been bad at all.
Saka to take the corner, right-hand side in swinger. Saliba closer to Trafford, but not on him. Havertz waits far post with Nkapie and Gyökeres. Gabriel on the penalty spot looking to move. He's curled in cleverly. It's not in towards goal, but over the crossbar. There's a difficult chance. Nkapie looked to take it on, but couldn't direct it on target.
No, yeah, he just couldn't control the header, could he? That was more of a sort of traditional Arsenal corner, wasn't it? Aimed towards the far stick. To get a relatively free jump on it, Nkapie, but yeah, it was always going over the bar, wasn't it? Looking at the numbers, it doesn't mean anything because the scores are 0-0, but City, you know, we're 37.5 minutes in here. Manchester City haven't had a shot. That is an undeniable stat. We've only had 5, and 3 of those came within the space of about 3 seconds. But you know, even so,
Haaland looking to hold it up. He's done well here. Doku helps out. He's got O'Reilly left-hand side, just inside Arsenal territory. No real significant worry. Arsenal get back in defensive positions, and the ball is on the halfway line with Nunez. 7 minutes remaining of this first half, 0-0. Things will slow down again as Rodri plays it to the right-hand side. Arsenal pushing up here. Semenyo with the ball at his feet. Back in field for Rodri. O'Reilly calling for it left-hand side, but that's easy for White to intercept and not away for a Manchester City throw. 15 yards inside the Arsenal half. O'Reilly takes it quickly. Bernardo Silva lets the ball come across his body and then takes the touch. To the halfway line. Nunez back in field. Short for Rodri. Looking to pull the strings in midfield for Manchester City. 14 Premier League starts this season for the Spaniard. Now it's with Ryan Cherki. Here's Rodri again. Arsenal players back away. Semenyo inside the penalty area, right-hand side, looking to get a cross-come shot in. It's blocked by Gabriel. And Gyökeres helps out. Gabriel left-footed goes long, but that's easy for Trafford.
Well, that is a shot, City. Semenyo blocked by Gabriel. Yeah, at the moment, losing the ball a bit cheaply, aren't we? Sort of, as I said earlier before kick-off, we're going to go a bit more direct today with Noeza, with Havertz in there, and some of those passes are going awry. And I suppose at the moment, City, having a lot of the ball.
Rodri, just inside Arsenal territory. Nunez to take it on and drive at the Arsenal back line. Here is Semenyo. Now it's with Ryan Cherki. Haaland waits inside the penalty area. Cherki still with the ball at his feet here. Some fancy footwork, but can't get beyond Trossard. Still has it, decides to lay it off for Rodri. Now it's with Semenyo against Nkapie. Fancies it, Semenyo against the Ecuadorian. Curled in towards the far post, but it's curling away from Haaland and it's out for a goal.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah, just got too much bend on that, didn't he? Too powerful as well from Antoine Semenyo, and Haaland was never going to get on the end of that. But look, they might not have had a shot, but the thing is with this City team, you know that they've got quality when the big chances come around. Haaland, Semenyo, Cherki, you know, these are guys that can deliver. So, yeah, the game, this final, very much on the knife edge. But I would say that even though City have had more of the ball, I think we have been the better side.
There is Nkapie. Fully down the line, cut out by Nunez, throwing for Arsenal on the halfway line. He's not had too much of a sniff. He's scored in these last three against the Gunners, 5 all told. And even though he only had one in these last 5, he wasn't pretty, wasn't it, in midweek against Real Madrid. He still has this unbelievable goal-scoring record. 22 last season, the Premier League 22 this campaign, 13-42 in all competitions. Style of play makes defenders want to switch off, I guess, because he's never involved, but that's when he can hurt you.
Yeah, he can hurt you in so many ways, can't he, Erling Haaland? He's a very unique player. I don't think it matters that he doesn't have many touches. That goal record is unreal, and you have to respect it.
Long for Saka to battle with Ake. Referee looks at that as Saka goes down, but play continues. Arsenal have it anyway.
And he tried to top it out late on with Danny Holgado. It just pushed that front tyre beyond its limits and just was able to make sure he secured second place. Let's put him up at third in the World Championship. What a ride though. Boy, is Danny Holgado cool under immense pressure. He's your winner here in Brazil, and he's with Jack in Park Ferme.
Danny, that was some rides. You started today in Q1 and now you finished it as victor of the Brazilian Grand Prix. The mentality you showed to battle back on Danny Munoz, just how important a win is this at the start of the season?
Yes, today was a very good day for me. P1 in Q1, P1 in Q2, and winning the race. It's amazing. Amazing Sunday here in Brazil. Absolutely mentality. For this moment, because on Friday I was P21 and not is a easy thing to go for the victory, but I'm very happy. Thanks to my team for the amazing job. Thanks to my family for the support, also my girlfriend and my friends.
Look, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It has been a very, very impressive start to his second season in Moto2, hasn't it? For the number 96, Holgado, backing up an excellent third place in the opening round in Buriram 3 weeks ago with his third victory. And he really did have to dig deep for that one, didn't he? There was a lot of pressure came his way. Look what it means to Holgado in very, very demanding conditions. That was tough, both physically and mentally, over those 26 laps, but he did not drop the ball once, did he? Great scenes as well post-race with Danny Munoz. A lovely embrace between those two. I think Danny Munoz was just indicating there, that's the sign that, wow, I was on the limit. I was on the ragged edge for all of those laps.
También. La uno que se me ha cerrado también al principio.
I think we've got a clear indication from all of our top three in that Park Ferme of just how much has been taken out of them physically in that Grand Prix. Race winning time almost 36 minutes. 36 minutes where you're pushing yourself to the absolute limit, and tough conditions, 30 degrees the ambient temperature. Look at that big sigh of relief, a big puffing out of the cheeks with Danny Munoz. But with all the hard work comes some big prizes.
Haaland can't take it.
second in that Grand Prix. Outstanding job.
I think Danny Holgado complains too much that he's been forced to sit in the back because he finished the Grand Prix right at the very front and does, as mentioned, take the lead of the World Championship after 2 Grand Prix. Obviously with the half-point situation, despite the fact they have identical records, first and third apiece for Gonzalez and Holgado. It's Holgado who leads the championship by 4.5 points. Munoz up to third in the World Championship with his second today. He goes up ahead of Ethan Guevara, who drops 2 places into 4th. And already David Alonso, 22 points behind his teammate Danny Holgado, who sent a clear message today to his young teammate at Aspar that for all the talk of Alonso's promise into this season, many have Alonso as the title favourite. Holgado is going nowhere.
Nice fist bump to the camera there from Holgado. Well, it was him that was delivering the knockout blows in that Moto2 race here in Brazil, as we get our first ever Moto2 podium celebrations underway here in Goiânia.
The Aspar team then to accept more success. It's Nico Tirol, I believe I heard there from the circuit announcer, who's about to accept the winning constructor prize, and here he comes leaping onto the podium. Of course, a 125 world champion in his own right, but really taking on the leadership of that team after Gino Borsoi departed a few years ago, and no sign of Aspar's success slowing down. Manu Gonzalez loses the points lead today, but a big 16 points for him in his title quest this season. We saw second, or third should I say, from Munoz in Barcelona last year. He goes one better to second today. The best result of his Moto2 career. The last year's Rookie of the Year now leads the Moto2 World Championship with a 3rd Moto2 victory. First since he ran away with it in Motegi last year for Danny Holgado, and an all-Spanish podium in this Moto2 encounter. Martin Guerra, the coordinator of Goiás, in the effort to put this Grand Prix back on the map once again, presents the winning constructor prize to Nico Tirol. As well as winning, of course, a 125 championship, is a Moto2 Grand Prix winner himself. The marketing director of our event sponsor, Renata Checo, presents the 3rd place prize to Manu Gonzalez, who didn't have many podiums at all, did he, in the second half of last year? He starts this year with 2 out of 2. We're told that is now 17 Moto2 podiums for him. Just the second for Danny Munoz, and a second place breaks new ground for him. Led with a couple of laps to go. Takes 20 points for second place, and Intel Trans proving that there is life after Diogo Moreira for them. But your winner today is Danny Holgado. Just over to your left there, George Viegas, the IM president, who will present the winning trophy to the new World Championship leader. It's Danny Holgado's day in Brazil.
Taken Mertesackers up there. This one falls, but it's no good. Tees up, Oxlade Chamberlain, and finally, and the 3rd time I'm asking, is Per Mertesacker with a header. 2 defenders denied, but not to be denied on a 3rd occasion, and Arsenal are back in it.
So we're just the 4th time in Moto2 history, the top 4 locked out by Spanish talent, led by your race winner here in Goiânia, Danny Holgado, who hands over some very hard-earned race winning Prosecco to the boss, Nico Tirol. The Aspar crew getting their fair share of the glory as well here in South America.
of McGregor. He did
Danny
enough
Holgado's victory sees him seize the early initiative in the Moto2 World Championship in 2026. Still to come, of course, we have a 31-lap Grand Prix Brazilian MotoGP coming your way. Coverage of that will start very, very shortly as we get confirmation of the standings here in Moto2.
Just a second and a bit between them, but it went right down to the wire between Munoz. And it was the younger of the Dannies, Holgado, who's triumphed. Holgado beating Munoz with Manu Gonzalez on the podium in third. Heartbreak for a Scridge on the final lap as he had to settle for fourth place.
And is that the goal that wins Arsenal the FA Cup? That's a well-worked goal. I mean, Giroud's done. He's done brilliant. He's just knocked it back. Ramsey there just placed it low and hard.
Adebayor, nicely worked for Gibbs, and Walcott, 1-0 Arsenal! The red half first to cheer.
Point scenario in Burra means Danny Holgado is your championship leader by 4.5 from Manu Gonzalez. Munoz up to third. Cavara is in fourth place. Both of his results, a second and a sixth, have each yielded 10 points. Alex Escreech fifth, ahead of Colin Vaya and Ivan Ortola. David Alonso is on the board. His first points of the year put him ninth in the standings, 22 points behind his teammate. So Danny Holgado is your winner in Moto2 in Brazil. Up next, the main event, MotoGP, is moments away.
Sanchez, beautifully done by Alexis Sanchez, and 6 minutes before half-time, the holders are in front. Sanchez the first to appreciate the pass from Ozil. Ozil. Gibbs has made a run for it. Here's Sanchez. Oh. Real agony for Reading and their goalkeeper Adam Federici, beaten for a second time by Alexis Sanchez. It should have been a straightforward save.
Monreal, Sanchez climbing. And it's thrashed in by Theo Walcott. The selection pays off for Arsene Wenger. The pressure pays off for Arsenal. Full of vim and vigour, as you would expect. Sanchez can hit them from here. My word, he's hit that one. And has totally ripped it past Shay Given. Alexis Sanchez at Wembley again.
Well, does it take a deflection, or does he just put a lot of swerve on this? Shay Given was beaten right over the top of him. What a strike.
For a third for Arsenal, and it surely curtains. And there it is. Mertesacker.
Arsenal have completely dominated this game. Physically, they've been better. Tactically, they've been better.
Real shit.
Pole position, drama from lights out though for Fermin Aldeguer on his return to action. Big wheel spin for the Gresini rider, dropped him all the way to the back of the pack. Fabio Quartararo was super aggressive at the start and was briefly as high as second place after he treated the Brazilian fans to some early spectacle. What an early battle that was with reigning world champion Marc Marquez. Boy Martin keeping watching brief early on in fourth place as he had a big early battle with his teammate Marco Bezzecchi, but a crucial late mistake, 2 laps from home at turn 12 from the Gian Antonio saw Marc Marquez fire some serious momentum into the defence of his MotoGP world title. Marc's first gold medal of 2026. He's up and running in this season in terms of winning form. Tough Tasso facing the world's best over 31 laps here in our first Grand Prix of Brazil since 2004. At a circuit named after not just a Brazilian sporting superstar, but a global sporting icon, of course. Ayrton Senna three-time Formula 1 world champion. One of 3 racetracks in Brazil here in Goiânia, named after the late great F1 superstar. Let's go, Goiânia! Well, we're ready after over 2 decades of waiting for a full MotoGP battle to take place. We've got the aerobatic display hovering overhead of what is a sellout crowd here today at a boiling hot Brazil. Ambient temperature is smudging over 30 degrees now as we look downtown into nearby Goiânia, Brazil's 10th largest city. About a 75-minute short flight away from Sao Paulo, 1,300 kilometres away from that last port of call in Brazil, where we were at Jacarepaguá in Rio de Janeiro, all the way back in 2004.
Has given the
this
goal,
is our 4th
and
ever
Arsenal
Grand Prix to
take the
take
lead in the
place
cup
here
final within 5 minutes,
We were here
and it's that man
in
again,
1987
Alexis
when Wayne Gardner
Sanchez,
was crowned
Arsenal
MotoGP world
1,
champion.
Chelsea
Eddie Lawson
0.
won here in 1988, and Kevin Schwartz the victor on our last visit in 1989.
It was a handball.
Real MotoGP superstars there. Who will join Gardner, Lawson and Schwartz at the winning club here then in Brazil? What a day. What an afternoon rising store for Diogo Moreira we just saw there. The home crowd hero comes to the back of the pro Honda LCR garage. He is idolised in this part of the world, of course. There you go. There are tens of thousands of those 11 Moreira shirts, caps and flags that have been lighting up downtown Goiânia. His face all over the local airport when we first arrived here a few days ago. The reason why he's already a superstar, age 21 in this part of the world, but he was Brazil's first ever Grand Prix world champion, of course, in Moto2 last year. Marc Marquez looking for his 12th winning double to potentially seize the lead in the MotoGP World Championship before he heads to his beloved Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Today could be another milestone in a career laden with milestones for the number 93, as he could become just the 3rd rider in history to reach the magic milestone of 100 Grand Prix victories. That's all to come. Lights out where we'll be in just over half an hour's time here in Goiânia, in the company of Matt Burt, Lewis Sotheby, in the commentary box with Jack Appleyard and the blazing sunshine down in pit lane and on the grid. Well, Fabio Di Gianantonio gave Mark yesterday, Lewis, but this was the a small mistake on the exit of turn 12, and that was all. His 16th sprint win, levelling Jorge Martin in the all-time winners list in the sprint. The momentum with Marquez coming into race day in Goiânia.
And we haven't said that much, have we, in 2026 so far. Marc Marquez has been on his back foot. He's almost been playing catch-up for much of this season so far. Finally, Marc Marquez able to seize the initiative yesterday, having chased and chased for so much of the sprint. Fabio Di Gianantonio certainly made him give chase with his strong start to the sprint, with Fabio Quartararo acting as the cook in the bottle in 2nd place. Marc Marquez stayed patient, he piled on the pressure. His reward came with a couple of laps to go when Digi's mistake handed him the gold medal.
Of course, it's over 170 days now since Marc Marquez last finished a Grand Prix of the tyre drama which ruled him out of podium contention in Buriram last year. Marc not seen a checker flag on a Sunday since he was crowned MotoGP World Champion 25 in the Motegi Mountains in Japan. Fabio Di Gianantonio there for just the 2nd time in his MotoGP career coming to pole position. We'll talk more on the prospects for the VR46 Ducati rider very, very shortly, because we're going to see coming up what is a stunning home race Brazilian livery from the Gresini team. Of course, we're very closely associated many years ago with Alex Barros back in the day. Let's get the thoughts of their boss, Michele Musiti, who's the Jack.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bertie. I have to say these Gresini machines look absolutely magnificent with the Brazilian flag on the side of them. Michele, just talk to us about the inspiration and why you guys are running this special livery today.
Yeah, as you know, this year we will run our 30th season in the MotoGP class, so this is a tribute to 1997 with Alex Barros, when Gresini Racing was born with Fausto, and I think this is the best thing that we can do. We can show here in Brazil. So I think that it's a huge tribute to our history, that we continue to hope to continue to write a lot of pages of this wonderful history.
It looks great. The big question though, is it fast? How do you think both guys are going to do today?
I hope so. More faster than yesterday, I think, because also the warm-up went well. Also Nadia can say that we are more faster today. But so I think that so the first target will be to make a good start, at least stay in the top 5 today.
From just speaking to the Moto2 guys who did 26 laps, with this temperature, with just how technical the circuit is, it's a toll on the riders. For Mean in particular, how is he going to tackle 31 laps of this place with the injury?
First of all, I think that the key today will be manage the front tire, the hard front tire for all the races, and for sure this is the tough test for Fermin. 31 laps. The pain is a bit more compared yesterday and Friday, but so at least the priority is to try to finish in the best shape possible. We cannot ask nothing more to Fermin, just to keep in mind to bear in mind his physical condition.
And just finally for Alex, it feels like he needs a result just to kick-start the season. He's had his challenges throughout Thailand. Yesterday wasn't what he would have hoped for. Is a big result, do you think, possible?
I hope so, but first of all we have to focus on the work, because I think that they're missing something again with the feeling. So our priority now is to give him back the right feeling for Alex, to find together the feeling. Then of course we have to think about a great result.
Thanks, Michele. Have a great race.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Thanks, Jack. Thanks as always to Gresini boss Michele Massini. Trust us when you see on our live coverage very shortly for Fermin Aldeguer and Alex Marquez's special Brazilian Grand Prix livery, a little bit of a nod to Brazilian great Alex Barros. You will agree with us that it looks absolutely mind-blowingly gorgeous.
Yeah, head to Gresini Racing on social media as well if you want to an advanced sight of that. Before we show you it on screen, you can just see bottom right corner of your screens there, the green Brazilian coloured shirts within the Gresini box. You just saw someone who has a lot of Brazil in his heart and his veins a moment ago there, Frankie Morbidelli, who goes from 15th on the grid. Fortunately for Frankie, this morning in warm-up saw him have his second crash in as many days.
So too did World Champions leader Pedro Acosta and our pole starter Fabio Di Gianantonio. They were also on the floor this morning in that warm-up session. Aiming to be the 5th rider to win 4 Grand Prix on the spin, Marco Bezzecchi. On the Sunday, he has not seen a glimpse of anybody else's rear tyre since the Malaysian Grand Prix in Sepang last year. In other words, an awful long time ago. Start to finish wins in Portimao, and he led every single lap of the Grand Prix in Buram in our season opener. The last rider to win a Grand Prix in MotoGP, leading all laps before Marco Bezzecchi's current great run, was Jorge Lorenzo all the way back in 2015. What Marco Bezzecchi is doing right now in MotoGP is not a regular occurrence. It just shows the class and the sort of emergence of Aprilia and Marco Bezzecchi. Well, we've been waiting 22 years to race in Brazil. We've been waiting, thankfully, slightly less time to see this absolutely beautiful Alex Barros Gresini livery. Absolutely awesome. There is, of course, the late great team boss himself, 125cc world champion Fausto Gresini, his first venture into the MotoGP World Championship with Alex Barros. Well, this is a throwback. This is right at the start of my MotoGP career in 1997, the British Grand Prix at Donington Park on the Honda V-twin, of course it was, back in those days. Well, these are great shots. These really are rousing some fantastic memories, aren't they, for the MotoGP paddock. And today, Diogo Moreira carrying the hopes of a nation. He's going to be the first Brazilian to race in front of his home crowd since Alex Barros did so at Rio in 2004. Brilliant work again from the Gresini squad.
Yeah, they are so good at nodding and giving deference to their history. Of course, we often see it when we race on it, Italian soil as well, a Gresini team, which is one of the evocative names in MotoGP, both on and off the track. They are paying a wonderful tribute to one of the great Grand Prix victories of the past and one of Brazil's great motorsport athletes. Fermin Aldeguer then who's the lead Gresini rider on the grid. Wasn't the lead Gresini rider for long yesterday, was he? He went right instead of forwards off the start line. That had knock-on effects for others behind him, including Johan Zarco, who had to take avoiding action to dodge Fermin Aldeguer. After the practice start session, albeit in wet conditions, that we saw on Friday morning, this was no great surprise to see some riders spinning their rear tyres up the line.
Now, we've talked about the sort of increase, the sharp increase in ambient temperature here today. Feels definitely like it's the hottest conditions of the weekend. This is going to be a grueler for the MotoGP riders. Well, let's quickly go down to Jack as we look at Diogo Moreira for an update on the conditions. Jack, is boiling in Brazil.
Yeah, it absolutely is. In fact, I just had a quick word with a couple of the Michelin technicians. Track temperature is now getting above what it was in Thailand, above 60 degrees track temperature. Such is the sun baking the surface here. We've just heard throughout the weekend, Michele Massini in particular, about how important it's going to be to look after the front and the rear tyre. 60 degrees plus track temperature is going to make that oh so difficult. These are going to be a long 31 laps for these athletes.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jack. Wow. Just what is going through the mind right now, Diogo Moreira, as he peels out of pit lane. He'll see those packed grandstands full of home fans who, it's fair to say, have given him a hero's welcome. He's had rock star status here this weekend, has Diogo Moreira. He has not been able to move an inch in the paddock here in Goiânia, certainly not an inch in downtown Goiânia, without being mobbed by adoring fans. Make no mistake, as popular as Marc Marquez is in Spain, as popular as the likes of Marco Bezzecchi and Pecco Bagnaia are in Italy, Diogo Moreira has cult hero status in his native Brazil.
Gresini potentially going for some home support too with that colour scheme today. Might get a bit of cheer for Fermin Aldeguer and Alex Marquez as well. Yeah, there are over 60,000 of Diogo Moreira's compatriots in the grandstands across this wonderful Goiânia circuit here this afternoon, ready to cheer their hero on with the Ayrton Senna replica crash helmet design. Here he is, third bike in your picture, up behind Marc Marquez. Famous Brazilian soccer stars have worn over the years. Is the number 11 now going to be forever linked with Brazil's future MotoGP star, Diogo Moreira.
So close to a first point scoring finish in the sprint format yesterday, wasn't it? Great ride from 14th to 10th. He was closing in at one stage on our World Championship leader, Pedro Acosta. Acosta eventually taking that final point and offer in that 15-lapper yesterday by 1.3 seconds. Fair to say it's been a bit of a turbulent weekend so far for Acosta and his fellow KTM riders. Acosta starting and finishing the sprint in P9. He had a pretty costly crash in Q2 yesterday at turn 4. He was on the floor again this morning at turn 13. And he's not getting a lot of help, is he, from those other KTM riders, Lewis, who are right at the back of the pack. I think Brazil has thrown KTM a bit of a curveball after what was a very positive Bull-Around.
Yeah, and they are not particularly knocking it out of the park either. They'll be quite keen, I think, to consign this Grand Prix weekend to the annals of history and move forward to Austin, Texas, where Pedro Acosta finished on the podium, of course, a couple of years ago. Yeah, Brad Binder, Maverick Vinales and Enea Bastianini, the slowest three riders in qualifying one. Vinales, the first of that trio on the grid, the P20 for Top Gun. They did all make progress in the sprint, but they could do nothing else, really, given where they were on the grid. Brad Binder, in the end, he comes to line in 15th place. Maverick Vinales didn't finish in the end, but was making progress before he dropped out. And Enea Bastianini, a weekend, and he will be very keen to forget. A nightmare so far for the beast in Brazil. 17th in the sprint yesterday, but if you average it out, he was giving up a second and a half per lap on our ultimate winner.
As Lewis mentioned, that return to Brazil has drawn in a crowd of nearly 61,000 fans. This fresh off the back of our record attendance at the Chang International Circuit in Burela, weekend crowd of nearly 230,000 fans there. Oh, well, let's go down immediately to the home hero. How are the nerves, Jack? He's with Diogo Moreira.
Yeah, I am indeed. Diogo, just over 20 minutes away from your home Grand Prix. How are you feeling? What's possible today?
Yeah, let's see. No, at the end, will be a long race. We have 31 laps to go, so it will be a tough race. No, so we need to manage well the body, also the tires. So let's see. At the end, you're gonna push at the beginning. So let's see at the end.
Good luck. Have fun.
Thank you so much.
brilliant of Diogo to speak to Jack. Good get that, Jack. Fantastic to hear from Diogo Moreira ahead of one of the biggest weekends of his racing career, one of the biggest weekends of his life. 22 years he's had to wait for a Brazilian Grand Prix. He's had to wait 2 to race in front of his home crowd in MotoGP. I have to say, his timing's impeccable to hit the MotoGP grid on our return to Brazil for the first time in over 2 decades.
Becoming Brazil's first two-wheel world champion last year. What a star he already is, Diogo Moreira. It sends a shiver down your spine. Every time we've seen Diogo Moreira on the screen, we've seen huge cheers of Diogo going up from the fans.
Getting and building up to our pre-race ceremony. There's always a special carnival atmosphere in South America. There's just a unique vibe when you come MotoGP racing in this part of the world. Just getting ready then to continue the build-up. You can see on the timing monitor there, just under the main bridge. We're about 20 minutes away from the start of our first Grand Prix of Brazil since 2004.
Well, Fabio Gianantonio starts from pole position. Marco Bezzecchi and Marc Marquez starting from the front row. Fabio Quartararo, a stunning 4th from Jorge Martin and Agura. Fermin Aldeguer 7th ahead of Alex Marquez and Pedro Acosta. How much longer will he be leading the World Championship? He's 2 points ahead of Bezzecchi at the moment. Joan Zarco 10th from Pecco Bagnaia, who crashed early in Q2. Toprak, having taken 3rd on Friday, was rewarded with a Q2 place. He starts 12th. Joan Mir 13th ahead of Diogo Moreira, who was the top Honda in the sprint yesterday at his home Grand Prix. Frankie Morbidelli alongside him. Home Grand Prix results for him too, 15th. Ralph Fernandez down in 16th place on the grid. It's not been a weekend. He'll look back on fondly so far. Rinza Miller alongside him. Marini Vinales, Bender and Bastianini complete your grid, where we can head now to hear from Agura, who joins Jack.
Yeah, he does indeed. A brilliant sprint yesterday for a brilliant start to the season for So consistent. I imagine coming from the 2nd row today, the target is the podium. Is that going to be possible?
We see the guys in the front is really fast, but I think also we can be competitive. So yeah, definitely the aim is higher than yesterday, but yeah, just do what we can and see where we finish. But I think we can do a good ride.
Good luck. Good luck to Agura and the Trackhouse Aprilia squad. His first top 6 finish in MotoGP outside of Thailand, believe it or not. His previous fall, all coming at the Chang International Circuit in our opening Grand Prix of 2025 and last year. Getting a bit of a call to arms, aren't we, down on the grid here in Brazil. 31 laps coming up for the MotoGP field, the highest number of laps in the Grand Prix since Laguna.
It really is. They have quite a high line, Manchester City, and it is on for him, but we're not seeing enough of the ball at the moment. 37.4% possession. He's a bit on the low side for us.
Let's see what City can do here with Cherki, and now it's with Haaland. Still has it. All a bit ungainly when he's trying to run forward with players around him, but he's managed to hold on to possession. Now it's with Nathan Aki. Back towards Bernardo Silva. Cherki's taking up a position right-hand side. It's a good run from Bernardo Silva. It's a really positive run inside the penalty area, looking to let fly. Still has it here. Bernardo Silva plays it out towards Doku. Doku to curl inside the box towards Haaland, cleared away to the edge of the area. Nunez for Cherki inside the box here. Good play from Manchester City. Cherki still has it. He can't make room for a shot. Rodri can. It's blocked by Zubimendi. Well, City beginning to grow in confidence and create opportunities here.
Oh yeah, no, they're very much on top at the moment. We're clinging on. I'm going to show our battling qualities here.
Semenyo, right-hand side. Manchester City push forward once again. Edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Cherki to turn. Still has it. Tries to play it infield towards Bernardo Silva, but Arsenal got players back. It's cleared towards Saka on this near side. But Ake is there. Plays it forward towards Doku. Doku to turn. He's up against White. Did the ball go out of play? No, says the referee, the assistant. Here is Doku inside the area. Looks to play it inside the box. It's a packed penalty area. Rice is there once more. Ake has had a really influential game at the back for City. Doku, City fans sense that there's something in it for them here. This is Ryan Cherki, no one wide right at the moment. Semenyo's come infield, thankfully.
Can't get out of our own half. We're pinned in here.
Rodri. O'Reilly moves away. It's back towards Kusanov. Nunez. Semenyo, right-hand side. It's going to have a runner in Nketiah here. Antoine Semenyo, edge of the area. Backing him up. It's still Semenyo with a shot, but, well, it's wide of the target. I'm not even quite sure it was a shot. It was well wide if it was.
Yeah, well wide. I think it was a shot, but just a really bad one from Semenyo. But look, we're having to ride this out, ride out this storm. So it is a storm. That's what it is at the moment. City have made 309 accurate passes. We've made 1, 3, 7. You know, they will feel they're dominating the game, and in a lot of ways they are. So we need to take back a little bit of initiative here. And it's okay to have less of the ball, because you can go and hurt the opposition. But do we really look like we're going to hurt them at the moment on the counter? I would say no. So yeah, it's a difficult moment in the game.
International break after this fixture, of course. Both of these teams involved in the FA Cup quarter-finals once domestic play resumes. Manchester City at home to Liverpool, Arsenal away at Southampton, of course. Here is Doku coming forward, still Jeremy Doku inside the penalty area. The shot from Cherki is blocked. Arsenal coming away with possession.
This carnival atmosphere.
Nunez slides in, terrific challenge. Rodri has it, Haaland's offside at the minute. City come forward once more. Do you sense that there is a breakaway for Arsenal if they can win it back?
Definitely, definitely. But Gyökeres has got to be ready for it. At the moment, we need him to defend.
Semenyo controls up against Nketiah, right-hand side. Haaland inside the penalty area. Semenyo can't get away from Nketiah on this occasion. Still has it though here. Rodri helps out. Now it's with Kusanov. Also just been helped by the amount of bodies they've got back inside their own penalty area. City have found it hard to get a clean chance, really.
Yeah, we've put them back now. Sent them back towards their own goal here. Good defending, good off the ball work in general. Well, this is good for City.
It is good, and Haaland could be away here from Nunez's ball. Haaland up against Saliba, still going. Saliba, who was twisted one way then the other, gets back to flick it away.
This is exactly.
Maybe more by luck than good judgment, if I'm honest there.
No, I think I give him the benefit there. I think he knew exactly what he was doing, but we cannot get out of our own half.
City have got it again
it's
here.
It's not sticking, is it? As soon as we clear it, they're straight back at us.
Cherki looking to take on Nketiah, right-hand side, still has possession. Nketiah gets a challenge in, City still have possession. Camped on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area, really. Rodri, Cherki's going to go again. Bernardo Silva outside him, Semenyo's got inside the box. Here is Nunez, and now it's with Bernardo Silva up against Havertz of all players in the left-back position, back towards Rodri, clipped inside the penalty area, looking for Haaland, cleared away by Saliba. This is Nathan Ake, looking to come forward inside the box, it's cleared away. Once scored a winner against Arsenal in a cup game up at the Etihad a few years ago.
Yeah,
Can Marc Marquez add to his CV? First-time wins on first-time visits to Austin, Termas, Buram and Balaton. If he does so,
and it's a mistake from Kepa, and it's bounced upon by O'Reilly,
for tying with
and into
Valentino
an
Rossi,
unguarded net.
and putting only one
Manchester City
behind
have
the
the
record
lead,
of
and it's
Aussie
the
legend Mick
fullback
Doohan.
up in an advanced position.
That's what they're all doing, battle for over 31 laps here in Guyana. They've organised the prize, including our owls stood up.
From a couple of yards out.
We're watching you as well, don't worry. Of course, there is the magnificent MotoGP Tower of Champions.
But it's such a shame
for the first time since 2019 in Batavia last year. It was Marc Marquez that added his name once again to the top of that tower. Trying to keep himself at the top of the tower and get himself back on the top step of the podium here this afternoon will be Marc. Just to reiterate, it would see him reach 100 Grand Prix victories. Well, he's a star in this part of the world, isn't he? 2008 Formula 1 World Championship runner-up Felipe Massa, former Ferrari F1 driver. We're Jack on the grid.
Felipe, an absolute pleasure to have you here on the grids ahead of the first Brazilian Grand Prix, for us anyway, in 22 years. How good is it as a Brazilian to see MotoGP return here?
It's amazing. I love it to be here. It's a great experience, you know, to see what they do in the track, you know, how the courage these riders have, you know, to drive, and what they do in the track. But also for me, the pleasure, you know, to be here to watch them in the MotoGP. You guys so nice also to receive all of us, and it's great to see MotoGP in Brazil.
You of course have one of your own on the grid in Diogo Moreira, only his second Grand Prix and in the top 10 yesterday. How impressed have you been, and how much is the Brazilian public behind him?
Oh, he's a future champion. I saw him before I went to meet him for the first time, you know, and I tell him, you know, concentrate and enjoy.
Felipe, great to have you here. Enjoy the race.
Thank you. Welcome to Brazil.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks very much for a very warm welcome from the Brazilian public, and in particular the Goiânia public. It has been wonderful to be back here in Brazil. Looking forward to many more years of MotoGP racing here in this part of South America. As under red-hot conditions, the riders come, and very, very shortly we are going to get, I'm sure, what's going to be a rousing rendition of the Brazilian national anthem in the company of Gustavo Lima. This will be a special moment for Diogo Moreira, who would have dreamt of this moment for so many years. But now is his moment, it's his time to shine in front of his home crowd. Felipe Massa saying himself that one day he's going to be a future MotoGP world champion. Well, who are we to argue with somebody like Felipe Massa? Great to have him with us here in Goiânia. We are going to take a short pause here in the commentary box and let you enjoy at home the Brazilian national anthem.
Must look at changing something here.
Well, the last time that City lost, having scored the first goal, was right at the start of the season in a game against Brighton back in August, but were beaten 2-1. They are generally good when they get their noses in front.
Yeah, well, because they keep the ball. They're very good at keeping the ball, aren't they, Manchester City? So we've got to tactically alter something here. Mikel Arteta has got Calafiori stripped. I can see that.
Arsenal came from behind to beat Bournemouth and Newcastle and Portsmouth this season. They have shown resilience, as we know. Need to do it again here. Need to just find a bit of rhythm. But they've given it away, and it's Doku that will come forward again. Edge of the penalty area, still Jeremy Doku here inside the box. Still Doku, waits a little bit more. Plays it over to the right-hand side, and Nunez. Now it's with Cherki back towards Nunez. Nunez to the edge of the 6-yard box, and it comes, and it's nodded in, and O'Reilly's got another one. Well, he's ghosted in the left back, and this time plants it beyond Kepa, and Nico O'Reilly doubles his and Manchester City's tally. The Gunners undone. It looked fairly simple at the far side, and O'Reilly made the run. No one tracked him, and it was an easy header from close in. Kepa no chance. It's Arsenal 0, Manchester City 2.
Yeah, look, it's disastrous start to the second half for Arsenal. O'Reilly the hero. Yeah, look, the changes are coming, but you feel, is it too late now? 2-0 down. It's a mountain to climb. And do we look like climbing it? No, we don't really. Again, they've camped in our half, they've pinned us back really deep. There's a little overlap here from Nunez, no one goes with him. And then O'Reilly, he gets there before Saka. Saka's got to be a bit more alive here to it. He has to defend O'Reilly. He's his man, really. Nketiah's got it, you know, they've got their own men. White's got his own player. And O'Reilly gets there first to plant a simple header into the back of the net. This has been a really poor second half so far from Arsenal. We've got it all to do.
Well, Madueke has come on here for Havertz. Calafiori has come on for Nketiah. A double switch here for Mikel Arteta. Whether he's going to make those two changes anyway, we don't know. But they are the two entrusted to try and make something happen, or at least give Arsenal a bit more energy, or maybe a bit more shape, a bit more dynamism on both flanks. Of course, Calafiori likes to get forward over on the left-hand side. Madueke obviously is going to play right, and it means that Saka's going to play centrally. and Arsenal are coming forwards here, but Manchester City win a throw-in down by the corner flag on the left-hand side, their left-back position.
I mean, you'd have fueled the bike up for 31 laps. You'll have electronic strategies for 31 laps.
But as Jack rightly points out, is the time has passed now to change your tyre choice, so they're all locked into the decision. So if anyone did take a gamble on the soft rear tyre for this Grand Prix, they might suddenly be looking in good shape here.
We saw, not giving names away, but the riders that finished in the Moto2 Parc Fermé were exhausted. They were drained, weren't they, at the end of that Grand Prix? We can only suspect that it is the fact that track temperatures are higher already, as Jack mentioned, than Buriram last weekend, in excess of 60 degrees. The fact that the ambient temperature is over 30 degrees. It's incredibly hot and humid here in Goiânia. But there you can see on your screens, this is the message from Race Direction. There has been a very significant reduction in our planned race distance here. We are dropping down from 31 to 23 laps. The 31 lap race distance, just a reminder, was going to make it the highest number of laps in the MotoGP race in 13 years, since there were 32 laps over in California for the 2013 American Grand Prix at Laguna Seca, which on that occasion, of course, was won by the man on your screens right now, Marc Marquez,
who will go from third place on the grid. Pablo Nieto, who's been a rather busy man in the last few minutes, he is now back with Jack.
Pablo, that's obviously huge news. It's going to have a huge impact on how you attack this race. What have you told the guys, and how does that change tactics?
The problem now is you don't have enough time to change nothing, so we have to keep the same strategy and make the race like this.
In terms of Fabio, obviously it crashed this morning in warm-up. How did that affect his confidence?
Always happen, no? But the good thing is when you are at pole position, your confidence are very, very good. So we have to try to make a very good race. Very good start is the most important thing, and then we will see.
Thanks, good luck.
Thank you.
Well, as you can see, this is an evolving situation here in Brazil. We're getting information pretty much just as you are watching at home. The reason for the race distance reduction is due to track degradation. Now, they're kind of surmising that on the sighting lap to come to the grid, the formation lap here, maybe the riders were spotting degradation in a certain part of the circuit. I know that Jack's going to be very, very busy trying to find out what particular parts of this Goiânia circuit are causing the most concern, but it is track degradation, we are told. That is the reason why we are dropping down from a 31 lap race to 23 laps. As mentioned, this is breaking news. This is an evolving situation as we speak here in Goiânia.
Well, it was already going to be a race of survival due to the immense physical challenge on the riders and the challenge on the tyres. This is definitely a Grand Prix for seeing the checkered flag. 23 laps coming ahead of us. Let's very quickly pop back down to Jack.
Yeah, team managers coming to try and speak to the organisers here, because some riders have been swapping tyres after the time limit, and as a result there's something to try and organise. Davide Tardozzi currently in conversation with Loris Capirossi and Carlos Espeleta.
Awesome work, Jack, as always, all over it down there in pit lane. So then we may potentially be getting a delayed start. As it stands right now, Marc Marquez on the front row of the grid in third place, looking for a double win here in Brazil. Marco Bezzecchi on the front row of the grid. Can he make it 4 successive victories in the MotoGP World Championship? But starting from pole position here in this shortened Goiânia Grand Prix, it's Fabio Di Gianantonio.
In this match.
White infield for Bukayo Saka. Saka time to turn. Now it's with Madueke. Madueke on the halfway line. Arsenal come forward. Joffrey's on
MotoGP is back in Brazil for the first time in 22 years. The grid is clearing. We've had some pre-race drama here in the build-up to what was scheduled to be a 31-lap Grand Prix of Brazil. Due to track degradation, that race distance has been reduced to 23 laps. Starting from pole position for the first time since Mugello in 2022 is VR46 racing rider Fabio Di Gianantonio. Marco Bezzecchi, second on the grid of the factory Aprilia. Can he be just the 14th rider in MotoGP history to win 4 successive Grand Prix? We know he's going to have a big part to play in proceedings. Marc Marquez from the front row in 3rd place. Yesterday's sprint winner here, of course, over 15 laps. Warm-up lap then gets underway here as we are set to go MotoGP racing for the first time in over 2 decades. Gianantonio made the perfect start yesterday, didn't he, from that pole position. Did so much of the front running in that sprint before he was undone by a late mistake at turn 12. Pedro Acosta, despite the fact that he picked up just 1 point in yesterday's sprint, started and finished it in P9, still sees him cling on to the World Championship lead. 2 points he sits clear of Marco Bezzecchi. Very early stage, of course, not even 2 rounds completed. Top 10 points covering the top 4 in the World Championship.
A nod to one of our colleagues in the media, Adam Wheeler, who makes a very good point. The 2/3 cut-off for a full point in a Grand Prix here in Brazil is 23 laps. So I suspect that is why they've settled on that number as the lap distance here.
So a weekend crowd of nearly 150,000 fans have come to enjoy the show in Goiânia this weekend. Thank you and obrigado to every single one of you. And after such a long wait, let's hope we are going to get another brilliant MotoGP battle here in Brazil. Hopes of back-to-back Brazilian Grand Prix wins for Japanese talent while they rest firmly on the shoulders, of course, of Ayagura, 5th over the line in yesterday's sprint. Makoto Tamada on a Pons Honda was our last MotoGP winner here in Brazil. That was at Jacarapagua, of course, in Rio, who will be adding their names to what is an elite list of previous Goiânia winners. A list that includes Wayne Gardner, Eddie Lawson and Kevin Schwantz, all former MotoGP world champions. It's the superstars of the present and the modern day that are about to do battle here in Brazil in MotoGP. Lights out to more racing in MotoGP here in Goiânia. Brilliant start in the middle of that front row by Marco Bezzecchi, and once again he leads the field. He's led every single one of our last 3 races in the top class. He's got the drop of Fabio Di Gianantonio. Marc Marquez there in 3rd place. He briefly lost that 3rd, didn't he, to Fabio Quartararo, but Marco Bezzecchi at the front once again.
Jorge Martin with a very good start too. He's right up behind Marc Marquez. Quartararo this time.
Unbelievable this by Marco Bezzecchi. Led every single lap in Portimao, led every single lap in Valencia at the end of 2025, led all laps in Boram last time round, and once again back in very, very familiar territory. He leads fellow Italian Di Gianantonio.
Pedro Acosta's made an incredible start. He's up to 5th place right up behind Martin. Took him so long to make any progress yesterday, but already the World Championship leader is up into the top 5.
Yeah, Fabio Quartararo's dropped back down into 10th place. He's just behind Ayagura and Juan Mir into the chicane. 10 and 11 then for the first time. You can just see there Quartararo running over the inside curve. He's got Fermin Aldeguer directly behind him on that special Alex Barros Brazilian livery.
Shocking start for Paco Bagnaia. He's dropped 3 further places. He's now down in 14th place, mired in the midfield.
So we've got Acosta, Mir, Quartararo, Razgat.
Just wondered, it's got to be Dowman time, hasn't it, soon? I mean, I know that's it's a big wild card, but it's one that it's a dice I'd be willing to roll.
Arsenal have possession. Gabriel with the ball at his feet, plays it to the left-hand side. Calafiori comes forward. Trossard has it now. Seen enough of Trossard in this game. Arsenal have got a throw. Trossard takes it quickly. Saka looking to turn back towards Trossard. In field here for Zubimendi. Flicks it forward for Saka. Can he keep this one in play? He can. He launches it inside the area. Cleared away though by Manchester City with the defensive work. Now it's with Rice. Good quick passing and good tempo.
Great play.
Arsenal have it with Madueke way outside in Madueke, edge of the penalty area. Bernardo Silva wins it back for Manchester City. Doku has it here, turns away from Madueke, wins a throw.
Yeah, it's too cute there. Madueke's gone for the nutmeg. He saw it coming all day long, didn't he, Bernardo Silva? I think in that kind of situation, just chop it around the player and go. Yeah, big conversation now between Arteta, Gabriel Heinz. What can they do here? They've got to do something.
Who do they turn to? What do they risk in terms of position on the pitch? Saka's playing just off Gyökeres really at the minute. I mean, it comes with risks, but look, this is a cup final, you have to.
Yeah, I think
it's difficult, isn't it? Because you've still got to have the balance, you've still got to have the platform, you've still got to have the shape. You can't just throw attackers on and just say, well, look, you know, do something, because you've got to have the football.
Yeah, exactly, and City's shape has been better than ours today.
The Oglu, Rins and Marini on Michelin's soft rear.
Also enjoying a little bit more.
How decisive could that be with 8 laps slash?
Might be one to take off potentially if you really are going to try and go for it. 13 minutes running.
Off the full race distance. Marco Bezzecchi then.
Calafiori will take it down on the volley.
Leads over the line at 123.325. His opening.
Might hit the post.
Aldo, as Mir comes from a long way back on.
Trossard flicked it on, didn't he?
Is he going to get that Honda stopped? He is. Oh, Di Gianantonio's gone.
Nice flick from Trossard. It sits up well, it takes the touch. I think it hits the outside of this post. We'll see it from this view here. Wide, Di Gianantonio makes a mistake going into the first corner, and Marc Marquez pounced on another Di Gianantonio mistake, just as he did in the sprint yesterday.
Yeah, it was a late mistake yesterday, a very early one today. Marco Bezzecchi as a result of that.
Against City, as he did, of course, last season.
He's 7/10 up the road in the lead of this Grand Prix.
Italian, terrific striker of a football, as we've just seen there. City have got a free kick here.
Marc Marquez up into second place. We've had a crash, unfortunately. The 200th Grand Prix for Jack Miller only lasted a lap and a quarter.
Yeah, that is a shame, unfortunately, for Jack Miller. Desperate to get some information.
From 89 minutes on against Everton, so you never know.
Over a long distance once again on that V4 powered Wisdar M1. Just showing Di Gianantonio his front tyre there. Wasn't he going through 6 and 7 was Jorge Martin, who's been fast starting once again. First sprint podium yesterday for Martin since the Solidarity Grand Prix in Barcelona.
It'll give Arsenal a huge impetus to just try and get another butt hook
in 2024. Bezzecchi then that is that leads. Here we go, the late on where Di Gianantonio lost the lead and the win in the sprint.
Fabio Quartararo has lost further ground. He's now out of the top 10 in 11th place. Acosta shaping for a move up the inside of Jorge Martin. Acosta up into 4th place. That was Mir attacking Zarco too. Of course,
Nunez, Rodri again. Doku has
here and Acosta on the soft rear tyre, both flying up the order.
Well, you knew that Acosta from 9th had to be ultra aggressive at the start of this Grand Prix. He has not disappointed, has he, at all. Marc Marquez and Marco Bezzecchi, first riders in this Grand Prix into the 118s. They exchange 118.8. Bezzecchi led over.
It's a dynamic run. Finds Zubimendi, who's calling
line by just over half a second.
Marc Marquez to get his claws into this Grand Prix, but Di Gianantonio still right behind him. Of course, Digia looking for a bit of revenge on Marc Marquez after a mistake cost him sprint victory yesterday. Of course, having already lost second place, Di Gianantonio with a bit of a score to settle here.
Poor from Rodri, just knocks it straight out of play.
Bezzecchi in the damp conditions on Friday was 20th, and in Q1 he had a crash.
Hasn't gone out of play yet.
It's a long way away, isn't it?
It's 2.
At the end of FP2 on Saturday morning, which left him in one bike for both qualifying sessions, yet somehow he was still able to get himself on the front row of the grid. A little bit missing some performance, he said, in parts of this Goiânia circuit on the Aprilia yesterday in the sprint, but boy, is he making amends for it here today. On course for what would be a dream scenario. 4 consecutive Grand Prix victories. Awesome this by Bezzecchi. Likewise from Acosta, he looks to defend that World Championship lead.
Strong start too for Alex Marquez on the Barros-inspired Grassini livery.
Here, Rodri for Bernardo Silva. Now it's with Ryan Cherki over on the right-hand side. Cherki back for Bernardo Silva once again.
He's right up behind the Acosta-Martin battle. We're in the middle of that right now, riding on board with Jorge Martin in 5th, but Alex Marquez is right behind us in 6th.
clearly see there just ahead of Jorge Martin. We've got Acosta directly in front, but Marco Bezzecchi is starting to gap the field here. He's the only right at the moment that's keeping himself in the 1:18s. Brilliant this early pace by Bezzecchi. His advantage over Marc Marquez crept up by another 0.3 of a second almost on that last lap. The Gian Antonio regrouping after his early mistake, just his best lap of the Grand Prix, keeping himself in third place. But Bezzecchi at the moment with a pace that's just too hot to handle.
Juan Mir also with rapid paces. Brad Binder's crashed out on the teammate to Acosta. The bike we're looking at from Jorge Martin. Binder, who was running in 17th place out of the Grand Prix. But as mentioned, Mir also has front running pace. He did a 1:19.1 last time around. That was the same pace as Marquez and Digia, as Martin now attacks Acosta and takes back 4th place.
Yeah, that mistake by Binder has promoted Diogo Moreira, the home crowd favourite, up into 17th place. Martin then going toe-to-toe with Pedro Acosta. We've been waiting for a fully fit and fully confident Jorge Martin to show his credentials on that factory Aprilia. Well, we're finally seeing what he's capable of doing on that RSGP, and it's spectacular to watch. Third in yesterday's sprint, back up now into P4 in the Grand Prix.
Marco Bezzecchi's lead is now 1.1 seconds. Now, Marc Marquez in both the sprint yesterday and, of course, in the Grand Prix in Buriram took a few laps to finally get up to speed. Once he did, he had race-leading pace. So is this another example of Marc Marquez just taking his time, just getting himself up to speed? He might need to get a move on and get up to speed quickly, because he's half a second slower than the race leader.
Race of his own right now is Bears. Once again, he's the only rider in the 18s. A 1:18.717, 1.2 seconds, almost 1.3 clear of Mark as we move on to lap 5 of 23. I mean, this is just astonishing. It's just another demonstration, this by Bezzecchi. 1:19.2 from Mark, a 1:19.2 from the Gian Antonio. The next best behind Bezzecchi is the factory Aprilia of his teammate Jorge Martin.
Incredible pace at the moment from the race leader, who's already come into this Grand Prix weekend, as we mentioned, leading the last 78 Grand Prix laps without reply. He's now up to 83 and counting. 1.6 seconds is his lead halfway around this 5th lap. This is almost over as a contest already.
It'll be a shock to the system the time that Marco Bezzecchi is not leading a Sunday Grand Prix. Hasn't happened since the Malaysian Grand Prix in Sepang last October. He's in the groove here, isn't he, as well? We've seen just how good he was at demolishing the field, running away with it in Buriram a couple of weeks ago when he won by over 5 seconds. It was no contest in Buriram, it's no contest in Brazil at the moment. The chasing pack just have nothing at the moment for the runaway Italian. Over the line he comes, it's another fastest lap. He's just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. A 1:18.669 from Bears, the only other rider in the 1:18s. Guess who? Jorge Martin.
These Aprilias are running riot once again, just as they were in Buriram at one point. And Jorge Martin could potentially be staring at a 2nd place here if he plays his cards right in the remaining 17 laps of this Grand Prix. Marc Marquez coming under intense pressure from Fabio Di Gianantonio, who carves up the inside, and Jorge Martin says thank you very much.
Yeah, and we have now an Aprilia 1-2, don't we? Yeah, we do. So Jorge Martin then says, I'll take the early Christmas gift. We have now the factory Aprilia 1-2, as Lewis said. Martin then now up into 2nd place. He's nearly 2 seconds adrift of Bezzecchi. We've had one of the Aprilia 1-2, didn't we, in Barcelona in 2023, Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Vinales. But the RSGP is now the reference motorcycle, isn't it, in MotoGP as it stands right now?
Yeah, we asked the question after what we saw in Buriram, are Aprilia the reference? But I think we all thought, right, let's see a little bit more evidence, let's see a different racetrack, different conditions, different challenges, and once again, it is all Aprilia at the front of the field. And already, Jorge Martin is not only gapping the 2 behind him, but he's chipping away at Marco Bezzecchi's lead. At the point that Martin took 2nd place, it was 2.2 seconds. It's already down to 2 seconds, a 1:18.803 for Martin. 2/10 quicker than Bezzecchi. Remember, he was passing 2 people while doing that.
A terrible lap that by Bears. A 1:19 flat, sluggish pace. He's still comfortably clear, 2 seconds ahead of Martin. Jorge Martin. He said yesterday he's way ahead of schedule. He could not in his wildest dreams imagine being in the podium contention in the sprint at round 2. Well, he's on course to go one better in this afternoon's Grand Prix. 3rd in the sprint yesterday. Now he is here in 2nd place. This was the aggression from the Gian Antonio. He's going to fire at the VR46 Ducati on the inside of Marc Marquez going into turn 4. They both run out to the marbles, and then just cutting to his normal racing line on the inside. We're saying thank you very much, I'll take that gift. Jorge Martin up into 2nd.
So Marc Marquez then sitting in 4th place, of course missed the podium after his tyre came off the rim when he clipped that curb in Borough. At the moment, he's going 2 for 2 of missing Grand Prix podiums, which is not what we expected to be saying about the reigning world champion. But like in Borough, put to one side what happened when he dropped out of the Grand Prix, he did stay patient and he did come into the Grand Prix as it moved into the second half. So don't expect the 93 to be panicking just yet.
Just shows how much Didi's aggression on that last lap cost Marc Marquez. Marquez was a second slower than Jorge Martin. The Gian Antonio now gets himself into the 118s for the first time in this Grand Prix. He's not going to let Aprilia run away with the 1-2 here, is he, in Brazil? Marco Bezzecchi might be running away with the win, but Jorge Martin's got a big fight to hold on to that second place. Marc Marquez once again in those low 119s. His pace just 6/1000 of a second between Marc and Pedro Acosta in 5th. Further down, Aguirre, another Aprilia that's doing 118s. Aguirre, his fastest lap of the Grand Prix in P8.
Much like yesterday, though, for Aguirre, he's stuck in traffic, which is his big problem at the moment. He's behind Mir, Alex Marquez and Acosta. You just see him in the back of the picture. Bezzecchi was running away with this Grand Prix. I think he still just about is, but Jorge Martin did take 3/10 out of him on the last lap to cut that lead down to 1.8. I'm sure Marco Bezzecchi does have some extra pace up his sleeve if he needs it, but Jorge Martin, don't think he's going to be playing the team game if he has a sniff of a MotoGP victory.
So often Fabio Quartararo carries the hopes of the factory Yamaha squad and Yamaha in general. Unfortunately today, though, for him, the Frenchman is not with the top Yamaha run at the moment. That's Alex Rins in 13th place. Rins doing an excellent job, actually, just at a 119.535. Fabio Quartararo was over the line in 14th place, but you can see on the timing tower he's out of the points going places. At the moment it's Quartararo. He's been picked off by Moreira. The day's going from bad to bad worse, isn't it, for Fabio Quartararo? Down from 6th to 16th.
Yeah, I guess in some respects reverting back to what he probably expected after the incredible qualifying performance and sprint performance, to be fair, that Quartararo put in yesterday. The Yamahas, I guess, reverting back towards where they were when things settled down in Buriram. It's settling down a little bit at the front now. The top 4 all exchanging 118s. 18.8 for the top 3, with Gian Antonio setting his best lap for the Grand Prix. Marc Marquez and 18.9 in 4th place.
Everybody in MotoGP right now trying to work out the conundrum. How on earth do you halt Marco Bezzecchi? Just another phenomenal performance this by Bezzecchi. Brilliant start he made from 2nd place on the grid. Didn't really give a sniff to Marc Marquez and Fabio Di Gianantonio on the 2 Ducatis alongside him to try and get that whole shot on the long run down to the downhill braking zone for turn 1. And since then, nobody really has seen which way Bez went.
They're not seeing any way to catch him at the moment. Acosta's not really getting himself involved in this battle yet for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Acosta's doing low 19s. He also did a personal best on the last lap, but he's the best part of a second behind Marc Marquez and is losing the World Championship lead as it stands at the moment, losing it to this man, to Marco Bezzecchi, whose golden run looks set at the moment to continue. He is staring, although we're not quite at half race distance yet, but he is on course at the moment for 4 lights to flag victories in a row.
Very good.
Giacomo Agostini, Valentino Rossi and his great pal Pecco Bagnaia, previous Italians in MotoGP history to win 4 on the spin. And barring any late dramas, barring any late disasters, it looks like it's going to be 4 on the spin as far as Bezzecchi is concerned. He picked up his pace on that previous lap. He was back in the 118, just responding, maybe just seeing on his pit board that his gap down to Jorge Martin had just come down to 1.7, 1.8. Did he have a response? You bet he did. And now he's back in the 118s himself.
Aprilia then versus Aprilia at the moment, 2nd between himself and this Ducati battle as Marc Marquez gets a little bit hot there into turn 10, and a bit of a grimace and a shake of the head for Gigi Giglia. He's not had this feeling very often in the last few years, has he?
Well, he was the former technical mastermind of Aprilia, wasn't he? Pre-2014 when he first jumped over to Ducati. Well, it's his old paymasters at the moment that are mastering the MotoGP World Championship. Marco Bezzecchi once again is behind him with Martin and the Gian Antonio. Have to say Marc Marquez there in 4th place. Don't know whether Marc just may be biding his time, manning his tyres to launch a potential late attack on Martin and Digi ahead of him, but he hasn't really made. Somebody's gone down.
So it's not Marco Bezzecchi. You can see him
somewhere.
Top left of your screen. I think it might be Pecco Bagnaia, who had just taken 11th place. Unfortunately, though, he is now out of this Grand Prix. His miserable start to 2026 continues.
Well, a lot of people wondered whether there was going to be any kind of hangover from his dismal 2025, and we're getting our answer at the moment. Down he goes into the first corner in pursuit of Johan Zarco's LCR Honda, and that's the exact same crash that Zarco had himself in the sprint yesterday. Oh dear, Bagnaia. Oh, Juan Mir. It's another double DNF
from 7th place
for Juan Mir. Yesterday, he got a bit of a helping hand into the gravel trap after Raul Fernandez's early aggression in the sprint. This one, though, is all of his own doing as he rolls off the side of the tyre going into turn 4.
This is a Grand Prix, as I mentioned on the warm-up lap, of survival. No one is guaranteed any kind of result until they see the checkered flag waving in their face. As we look overhead once again, as Bezzecchi puts a serious response in to Jorge Martin there. A 1:18.654. Bezzecchi with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, saying to Jorge Martin, hey teammate, I've got this one firmly under control.
That is a 34th GP DNF in 58 for HRC for Juan Mir. What a miserable experience he's had in Goiânia. That's astonishing pace, isn't it, by Marco Bezzecchi. Half distance almost completed here in Brazil, and he is just rubbing their nose at the moment, kicking sand in their faces. A 1:18.654. You're supposed to be going slower at this stage of the Grand Prix, Marco, not faster.
Well, myself and Matt have the honour and the pressure of choosing the overtake of the race nominees at the end of this Grand Prix. Potentially a contender just there, with Alex Marquez taking Pedro Acosta into turn 1. Alex Marquez now up into 5th place. That's the good news for Alex. The bad news is he's got 2 seconds to try and make up if he's to join the battle for the final podium position between Fabio Gianantonio and Marc Marquez.
Where's your vote going for rider of the race? Of course, you can vote now. There'll be a lot of support for Marco Bezzecchi, I'm sure, a lot of support for Jorge Martin as well, as Pedro Acosta climbs all over the rear tyre of Alex Marquez's beautiful Barros Brazilian livery for Gresini Ducati. Over the line we go. Marco Bezzecchi. Fair play to Martin in second. He's trying to keep Bez honest at the front of this Grand Prix. Martin has just set his personal best lap of the race, a 1:18.802, but the gap has not come down to under 1.7 seconds, has it? That's a gap that you feel is more than capable of Bezzecchi managing at the front. Just giving a Kez battle, a bit of a repeat for first and second in yesterday's sprint. Nothing between those two in terms of lap times. Low 1:19s for the pair.
How important is that start going to prove to be for Marco Bezzecchi to get the advantage into the first corner and build that early advantage, whilst Martin was stuck in a little bit of traffic, the traffic that only opened up for him once Gianantonio and Marc Marquez moved out of his way, because it's clear, isn't it? As soon as Jorge Martin has been in clear air in second place, he's had similar, if not faster pace to Marco Bezzecchi. They've been trading pretty fast laps. The lead has hovered around sort of 1.7, 1.8 seconds. Very little to choose between the two. But for Jorge Martin, the damage in terms of winning this Grand Prix might have been done in the first.
Seconds here, doesn't it, for Bezzecchi, as Pedro Acosta on the inside of Alex Marquez. Well, whatever room there was there, he decided to take it come what may, didn't he? Alex Marquez then trying to line him up on the exit of the final corner. Marco Bezzecchi will be taking the World Championship lead as it stands right now. That's why Pedro Acosta's fighting tooth and nail to try and limit the damage, and having compromised his exit speed with the aggressive entry into 13, Alex Marquez does dish out some instant retaliation and wrestles back P5.
And Ayagura having the front row seat of this battle in P7, and he'll be once again a little bit frustrated with the pace he has, but he can't use any of it, because once again he is stuck in traffic. It was Fabio Quartararo that he was staring at for much of the sprint yesterday. This time it's Acosta and Alex Marquez, because you fancy that Agura would have the pace to be in this Digia Marc Marquez battle if he could just clear the pair ahead of it.
This is just three-man, isn't it, right now for Aprilia. What a motorcycle they have created for the likes of Jorge Martin and Marco Bezzecchi. Those two are delivering, aren't they, here on Sunday in Brazil. Bezzecchi 1.9 clear of Martin. What has Marc Marquez got left late on? He said in Buram he was just happy to save energy and save rubber, crucially, as he was trying to find a way to close in on Ralph Fernandez late on in that Thai Grand Prix before that real freak tyre incident brought him out of contention. Is this now the plan for Marc? Is he just going to wait and try and rescue third place here late on from the Gianantonio? You can forget about the Aprilias, they are long gone.
Exchanging mid to high 18s. Personal best for Martin on 18.7 last time round, but Bezzecchi a 10th quicker. And here's another Aprilia making moves up the order. Ayagura now into the top 6 at the expense of Acosta.
looks like a bit of a sitting duck right now, doesn't he, Acosta, on that KTM.
Software tyre, of course.
Yeah, having barged Alex Marquez out of the way at turn 13 a couple of laps ago. A block pass, guess he thought, if I can get ahead of Alex Marquez and then just maybe block him for a few laps. And we know, we saw on so many occasions last year what an awesome defensive rider Pedro Acosta could be. But yeah, as he just punished that rear tyre too much, Segura made light work of him on the run down to turn 1.
Because this is, of course, lap 15, which was sprint distance yesterday. So past this point, we're now entering a territory where that soft rear tyre has not been into so far this weekend. So Pedro Acosta might well be a little bit concerned at the current off the race leading pace. Pecco Bagnaia not even in this Grand Prix, but already after 2 Grand Prix weekends, Bagnaia just with 10 points to his name.
Not at the races at all. Has he been? A bit of chaos and set a shoot ahead of him has seen Diogo Moreira elevated up into 13th place. You can just see him there. He's just ahead of Frankie Morbidelli. He's got Alex Rins directly ahead of him on turn. He's doing a pretty solid job out there at the moment, a respectable job to keep Yamaha inside the points going place. Fabio Quattararo at the moment on course for a rather fortuitous single point. And they have Bastianini on the last lap has picked off Toprak Razgatlioglu, the 16th.
That's a consolation prize at best, isn't it, for the Beast after the weekend he's had. That's a three-way battle at the moment. Quattararo, Bastianini and Toprak, 15th, 16th and 17th. This is the battle now for 3rd place, both in the 118s on the last lap. Didier and Marc Marquez, but unfortunately the horses called the Aprilias and bolted at the front of the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to represent, if he holds on to the podium, a real strong weekend for Didier. Pole position, 2nd in the sprint and 3rd in the Grand Prix. A 1-2-3 combo, but I think he'd have been expecting a little bit more here this afternoon. But once again, on Sundays, the Aprilia just seem to be able to raise their game. They're able to just ramp it up a couple of gears and find another level. And basically, let's be honest, they're crushing the opposition again once again here in Brazil. Marco Bezzecchi is over the line. He's on lap 17 of 2023, and he's still in the 18s. So too is Martin. Sensing that Mark here is just starting to build up for his late threat. Marc Marquez now has just fired in a rare 118 for the factory Ducati rider.
Well, I don't think even a grid-style samba show is going to break the concentration of Fabio Di Giannantonio here, given what happened to him yesterday, right here in the sprint, as he went wide and released the gold medal from around his neck and over the neck of Marc Marquez. Di Giannantonio will be highly motivated here to get a little bit of revenge, not only on Marc Marquez, but I guess on himself after the mistake that cost him a win yesterday.
Well, I had a pleasure of interviewing Marco Bezzecchi after his win in Burma. I had a bit of a post-race Thai Grand Prix bet with him. If he won in Brazil, he'd do some samba on the podium. I'm sure he's forgotten that. But let's hope if he does get the job done, we're going to see a bit of samba. I'm sure he will do. He's got a good teacher, hasn't he, in the VR46 Academy from Frankie Morbidelli. How's Frankie getting on in what is his 2nd home Grand Prix? He's got huge family and friend support here this weekend. Not really going Frankie's way, down in 14th position at the moment. And yeah, this threat is really starting to build here, isn't it, from Mark. He's piling the pressure on once again from Fabio Di Giannantonio. How many laps so far this weekend has Didier crossed the line and seen +0.93?
Didier's doing his level best. He just did his personal best on a 118.8, matched by Marc Marquez. So Didier is trying to prove a bit of a point here to Marc Marquez, but I've got everything it takes to hold you off in a head-to-head battle, which he didn't yesterday. He's still got another 6 laps to keep the world champion behind.
Yeah, which ain't going to be an easy task, is it, at all? It was a task that he was almost up to in the sprint yesterday. Kept Marquez at bay until a couple laps from the end of the sprint, but he's got it all on here because Marc Marquez is really starting to put that pressure firmly on the 49.
Potentially starting to come back at Martin a little bit the last couple of laps. You can see a bit of movement there for Marc Marquez around turn 6. On the last lap, they were a 10th quicker than Jorge Martin. Already on this lap so far, they pulled another 10th and a half back. Don't think Martin or Aprilia will be panicking just yet, but Martin might need to just squeeze a little bit more pace out of that Aprilia just to safeguard that 2nd place.
Now, I'm not Jorge Martin, and I'm not Jorge Martin's representatives, but these kind of performances are making it hard and hard to fathom why he would potentially, if you believe the rumours, be jumping out of the factory Aprilia squad to Yamaha.
Leading Yamaha at the moment, by the way, is in 14th place. Alex Rins, who is, what, some 15 or so seconds and change back from the race leader as the battle for third continues. Yeah, it's a bit of a conundrum for Jorge Martin. Who knows? Jorge Martin might well be in the running to challenge for a second MotoGP World title this season. If this Aprilia is the dominant package in the first two Grand Prix, then in way to go in the season, and Ducati will not take this line down. But Aprilia, as we've discussed, surely at the moment have the reference motorcycle. Do we have a new favourite already at this stage for the MotoGP World Championship? I tell you what, if Aprilia go to Austin next weekend and do this again, as Marc Marquez, the king of Cota, is putting some manners on Fabio Di Giannantonio, this is a bit of a personal duel, isn't it? Marc Marquez back into third place.
Listen to the roar of the Brazilian fans. They've got Diogo Moreira running in the point scoring place down in 13th place, but as he is all around the world, Marc Marquez is so popular. He's going to lose some drive though, isn't he, now coming out of turn 12? Marc Marquez, and he had to wait for a mistake from Di Giannantonio to seize the lead in the sprint yesterday. That was aggressive, wasn't it, by Marc? The two left-handers. So then, Digia, have you got anything? Marquez, his first Grand Prix podium of 2026. Of
course, Digia put a pretty tough move on Marc early on, which released Martin through. Digia, much like he did in the sprint yesterday, was able to get up alongside Marc Marquez, but can't outbreak him into the first corner. And is this deja vu for Digia 24 hours on?
Yeah, could well be. This is at turn 4 where he has already put on some aggressive moves. They go through the fastest corner circuit into 3, now into 4. Margot's super defensive. There's just nothing. He wasn't going to leave any kind of inch there for Di Giannantonio to throw that VR46 Ducati on the inside. What about now through 5? Now through the left-handers of 6 and 7. This is where Marc attacked on the last lap.
This will certainly ease the pressure on Jorge Martin for second place. This was the move, Marc Marquez. Bit of a block pass, but perfectly legitimate. Tonio said, Digia, you can tip it in as much as you want, but I've got the high ground, I've got the inside line, and I've got your third place.
That's how close it was. That is how close it was. It's the old cliche, isn't it? Rubbing his race. Antonio's got back ahead of Marc Marquez. You can see the live picture-in-picture screen there. And Di Giannantonio, well, fair play to him. Fabio is fighting fire with fire here. What a battle this is for the final place on the podium. Certainly is going to cost him the chance to reel in Jorge Martin for second. But Fabio Di Giannantonio, just as you knew he wouldn't, he ain't taking this line down.
Yeah, so we're just sort of trying to keep an eye on it. The top of the Tropicana screen. Did Marc make a mistake, or did Digia just deal out some revenge? We're going to see it now. Marc Marquez just wide, much like Digia was yesterday in the sprint. This time it was Fabio on the receiving end.
Yeah, Marc was nearly down there, wasn't he? Going through 11, and now he's got to do all the hard work over again. Just about 2.5 laps remaining here in Brazil. Marco Bezzecchi in cruise control here in Goiânia. We pick up the runaway race leader, who just is getting so accustomed to seeing clear tarmac ahead of him. Is he going to be your pick for rider of the race? What about Di Giannantonio for a podium position?
I was about to mention it a moment ago before Marc Marquez engaged with Fabio Di Giannantonio, but if Aprilia go to Austin and do this again, as Jorge Martin makes a bit of a mistake into turn circuit of the Americas, where Marc Marquez has dominated through his entire MotoGP career, then the alarm bells will be sounding loud and clear in Borgo Panigale.
Well, at least they're going to get out of Brazil with one bike on the podium, it looks like. Of course, last time out in Buram, no Ducati on the podium for the first time in 89 Grand Prix. No Ducati on the box for the first time in 5 long years. But you have to say, once again, Aprilia are creaming the opposition, aren't they? Marc Marquez then, hard on the brakes into the long right-hander of again. He closes up on Fabio Di Giannantonio, trying to make that VR46 Ducati as wide as an 18-wheel truck right now, isn't he, Digia? Into 4 we go. Marc Marquez nowhere near close enough to try and launch the attack. He won't be close enough either to make another move here at turn 5 like he did a few laps ago.
Marc's a wily customer, of course. He's been down this road many times before, won, of course, so many world championships. I don't think he's going to launch a crazy one from too far back here. 13 points is better than nothing, and at the moment he's not showing any signs of getting close enough to even launch a speculative one on Fabio Di Giannantonio.
Let's not forget as well, even though this has been reduced by 8 laps, Marc Marquez has not completed a Grand Prix since he won the World Championship in Motegi over 170 days ago. We still know he's probably not completely fully recovered with that right shoulder he broke in Mandalika. So maybe a bit of fatigue's creeping in now as well for the 93.
Or maybe for Jorge Martin too. He'll be quite keen to see the checkered flag because he's lost 6/10 on this lap to the Digia Marcus battle. Final lap begins for Marco Bezzecchi. Martin did a 19.5 on the last lap, lost 7/10 to Fabio Di Gianantonio, but the good news for the Martinator is he's got one more lap to survive.
It has once again been an exhibition in fast starting, fast pace, and then controlling a Grand Prix at the front from Marco Bezzecchi. He is going to join a very illustrious group of riders. This is 78 years, 77 years of the MotoGP World Championship. Previously, only 13 had ever won 4 successive MotoGP races. This is the historic moment beckoning for Bez. And let's be honest, he's not really been flustered, has he? He has not really been pressured. He's made it look so easy. It isn't, trust us, but Marco Bezzecchi is laying down a gauntlet here. He is throwing down a big marker. He ended 2025 with 2 wins in a row. He's starting 2026 with 2 wins in a row. Catch me if you can's the message.
It's getting even better for Aprilia. Guru's just taken 5th from Alex Marquez, but Marco Bezzecchi, is he about just to underline his status as MotoGP World Championship favourite?
Marco Bezzecchi was utterly brilliant in Buram to start 2026, and there's been a repeat. Bezzecchi has been brilliant here in Brazil. He wins our first Brazilian Grand Prix in 22 years. He absolutely destroyed the field once again. Winner in Thailand by over 5 seconds. Winner here today in Goiânia by over 3 seconds. Jorge Martin completes a fairy tale 1-2 for the factory Aprilia squad. A first Grand Prix podium since he won the World Championship at Barcelona in 2024 for Martin. Fabio Di Gianantonio does win out in another personal duel with Marc Marquez, despite the fact on the last lap of that Grand Prix, Marc did put in his best lap of the race, a 1:18.679, but it was not good enough. Di Gianantonio holds on for the podium. Got Alex Marquez for 5th on the last lap. The fireworks start, the firecrackers are underway, and on fire is Marco Bezzecchi on the factory Aprilia. He takes the lead in the MotoGP World Championship. Only Valentino Rossi, Marc Marquez, Jorge Lorenzo and Pecco Bagnaia had won 4 successive Grand Prix in the modern era. Some club that is to be part of. There were points. Agura got Alex Marquez late on for 5th. Pedro Acosta dropped down for 7th and loses the World Champs lead. A brilliant 8th place of Fermin Aldeguer on his first Grand Prix action since Valencia. A 9th and a top 10 for Zarco and Ralph Fernandez. Points for Marini, Morbidelli, Moreira, Rins and Bastianini. But this feels like another big statement performance by Marco Bezzecchi. The records keep tumbling for the Italian and for the Aprilia factory. First ever Aprilia rider to win 4 consecutive Grand Prix. The 27-year-old from Italy's Adriatic coast. Well, he is going to be enjoying his samba tonight here in Goiânia. What a ride. He never ever looked like throwing that one away from lights out to finish.
True dominance. Aprilia rubbing Ducati's noses in it. A 1-2, they're first for the best part of 3 years. Paolo Bonora giving his immediate reaction to Jack.
Paolo, the perfect day, who unsurprisingly is getting hugs, kisses from everyone in the Aprilia box. 1-2 in the Brazilian Grand Prix, doesn't get any. What a turnaround from yesterday for Marco. How did you pull it off?
Yeah, the medium tire on the rear since this morning fixed something that we struggled a bit during the sprint race. There was too much over force on the front tire, and the rear medium helped a bit in the braking and also in the acceleration phase for the stability. We have seen during the warm-up already for the Jorge and Marco in particular. And to be honest, they did a wonderful job. They start in a very great way. Very good start, and they manage in a very careful way the front tire.
Your favourite saying to me is feet on the ground, but come on, Paolo, you're fighting in the World Championship here.
No, we have already still the feet on the ground. Thanks a lot.
Feet doing some samba dancing right now, that's for sure, inside the factory Aprilia garage. Jorge Martin was overcome with emotion yesterday after he picked up that bronze medal in the sprint. He goes one better here today. Second place, his first Grand Prix podium in nearly 500 days on what was an unforgettable weekend, of course, when he was the Pramac Ducati World Champion over in Barcelona. Huge respect and kudos to Fabio Di Gianantonio. It's got to be one of the toughest challenges in MotoGP history to win an out-and-out fight with Marc Marquez. He has done just that, and look at that in terms of the championship. Pedro Acosta's poor weekend sees him surrender the lead and drop back down to third. Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin first and second in that Grand Prix of Brazil. And fairy tale stuff this for Aprilia, first and second in the World Championship.
And Marc Marquez already at this stage 22 points behind Marco Bezzecchi, and Marco Bezzecchi looks like he's in the mood to extend that in the races that come up. Of course, next weekend we go to Marquez territory in Austin, Texas, a venue that he has adored and dominated at over the years. But if Aprilia go there and stick it on to Ducati, then Ducati know they have a major problem if they don't already in 2026.
Yeah, Ducati and Marc might need Cota just to sort of get a reference of where they're at. We know how strong he is around that Austin circuit. You just saw there on screens. 2022, Aleix Espargaro, the last time an Aprilia rider sat at the top of the World Championship rankings. Those two once were sworn enemies and fierce rivals when they fought it out for the 2018 Moto3 World Championship. And now they sit alongside each other, first and second at the elite level. Congratulations from VR46 Ducati. An excellent job. What a weekend it has been for Fabio Di Gianantonio. And as we said, there aren't too many occasions in his Grand Prix career when, in an out-and-out race-long fight, Marc Marquez comes out the wrong side of it. Fabio Di Gianantonio ensured that was the case today. With Marco Bezzecchi racing Fabiano Sterlachini. What a weapon he's turned that RSGP into. Absolutely brilliant. Aprilia they're pinching themselves, aren't they, right now, here and back in Nawale. 4 successive victories from Marco Bezzecchi, all of them leading every single lap. Is it now over 100 laps, Lewis, or nigh on 100 laps that he's led the last 4 Grand Prix?
We have 101 laps now without reply.
Now that is dominance. That
MotoGP 101, according to Marco Bezzecchi.
That's next level. That is different class, isn't it? Warming himself even more to the hearts of the Brazilian fans. It's Jorge Martin with his number 89 Brazilian football shirt. Strong weekend for Ayagura. 5th over the line he was in the sprint yesterday. 5th over the line in the Grand Prix here today as well. Some weekend for VR46 Ducati as Fabio Di Gianantonio out of Q1 took pole position, fought for the win in the sprint, and then got a bit of revenge, didn't he, today on Marc Marquez after they toughed it out for the final place on our Grand Prix podium. I'll tell you what, if Marco Bezzecchi and Aprilia go to Cota next weekend and topple Marc Marquez and Ducati, then we're already standing up and taking notice, aren't we? But that will feel like an even bigger statement from the Nawale factory. So, 3 Italian motorcycles in Parc Ferme. There is Dorna CEO Carmelo Espeleta, or rather the MotoGP Sports Entertainment Group, as I should now say, coming to congratulate our top 3.
And Jorge Martin has a taste for it again now, doesn't he? Back on Grand Prix podiums. And at what point does the mindset of Jorge Martin, as Massimo Rivola is, I guess, taking phone calls of congratulations, at what point, I wonder, does Jorge Martin's mindset go from, I'm happy to be here, to, I can win a 2nd World Championship this year?
That was a brilliant ride by Fermin Aldeguer. 11.3 seconds behind Marco Bezzecchi at the checkered flag. That guy had not done anything anywhere near long distances on that Ducati since Valencia last year. What a weekend then for Fabio Di Gianantonio. Pole position and 2 podiums to boot. Let's get his thoughts with Jack.
Fabio, what a weekend and what a way to bounce back from yesterday. You could just tell you were not going to let Marc beat you again. To battle back and beat him head to head, how satisfying is that?
I pushed really hard, especially because I didn't make C, but this morning I had the bang on my left shoulder like last year. So I wanted to don't think about it, but once I started the race on the hard braking on the left, I was really struggling. So yeah, it was difficult at the beginning. Aprilia had something more compared to us, but then yeah, the battle with Marc was super fun. always aggressive from his side, but it's normal because this track is quite straight. Estreito. I don't know. It's quite a little tight, yes. So it was normal, but this time it was me or me, like me or me. Yesterday he took it. Now I took the podium. It's not a win, but for sure he's a great battler, and I'm happy to have battled with him.
Super weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Ciao a tutti, ragazzi. Grazie.
Yeah, Fabio Di Gianantonio then just revealing to us there that he was a little bit beaten up, a little bit battered after that crash in this morning's warm-up session, which shows just how hard he had to fight with Marc Marquez. Look at that. That is MotoGP combat at its closest. It was hard, it was aggressive, but it was fair between 93 and 49. And you got a sense, didn't you, that Fabio Di Gianantonio was not going to let lightning. One of the key moments going through turn 12, where Marc Marquez almost crashed out of contention. Fourth place then at the checker flag, that for the number 93. But Fabio Di Gianantonio then comes over the line for his 7th MotoGP podium finish. Great job by him. And what about Jorge Martin? Brilliant by the factory of Prilly rider. 2 podiums here in Brazil. Let's get his thoughts for Jack.
He's already practicing the samba, is Jorge, and quite rightly as well. What a return to form, a double podium. We could see the emotion of yesterday. Now to finish second, and an Aprilia 1-2 as well. It must be the perfect weekend for you.
Yeah, today, the question. It means a bit. Today, Marco was really strong. At some point of the race, I thought I could catch up, but luckily, Fabio overtook Marc, and I went through. And then I saw I was faster at that point. I was trying to manage everything on the bike. For me, long runs is really unpredictable. So every lap was a bit different. I was struggling a bit towards the end, but I managed well. I tried to win that, but it was really difficult to take out from Marco. Anyway. Super happy for closing this solid weekend. Thanks to Aprilia, they are an unbelievable team. Thanks to Marco because he's helping me a lot, and I think we are a great team and we can deliver good things this year.
Great job, well done.
Thank you, gracias Brasil, obrigado.
They are already delivering good things, aren't they? The Aprilia pairing. This was Jorge Martin. He would have looked ahead and seen Fabio Di Gianantonio pick up Marc Marquez on the entry into turn 4, both of them running out wide and just slotting that Aprilia on the inside. To take second place was Jorge Martin. Look at that, he's pumped, he is buzzing. His first Grand Prix podium as a factory Aprilia rider. Outstanding job by Jorge Martin. They can't quite believe what's happening, can they, at Aprilia at the moment. Grand Prix, the top 2 riders now in the World Championship. Is at the moment an unstoppable, an unbeatable Marco Bezzecchi, who wins once again here in Brazil. Let's get his thoughts for Jack.
Marco, that's now a fantastic 4th victory in a row. Your 100% record at the start of the season continues, and now the new MotoGP World Championship leader. Not bad.
Not bad. I'm very happy. It was a tough weekend. Was super tough on Friday. We started in a bad way, and it was difficult to keep the motivation super high. But the guys did a wonderful job, and I also pushed myself over the limit to try to compensate everything I could. And at the end, we found a way to make the bike in a fantastic way. I adjust some details on my riding, and from this morning I felt better, so I tried to fight, and it was an amazing race. I'm super happy. I want to dedicate this victory to Robbie, that unfortunately passed away last week. He was a dear friend of mine, so it was tough, and I'm very happy that I can dedicate this to him.
Well said. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a lovely tribute there to Robbie Lunaday, part of our close-knit MotoGP community, who sadly lost his life in a road traffic accident in Rimini last weekend. As Marco Bezzecchi there said, a close friend. And that MotoGP community down on Italy's Adriatic coast. Our thoughts and prayers are with Robbie's family and friends. Marco Bezzecchi, though, just continuing right now what is an unrivaled domination. I mean, we've said in commentary, it's anything but easy to win a MotoGP race, but right now he's making it look so easy. And as he mentioned there, I mean, he was all at sea and lost on Friday. 20th at the end of that rain-disrupted practice session. Fast forward 48 hours, and he's making it 4 successive Grand Prix victories in a row. He now leads the MotoGP World Championship. Aprilia on top of the standings for the first time in 4 years. Aprilia and Marco Bezzecchi running right in MotoGP.
Sì, 1,9, 1,6, 1,9.
Io che avevo loro che anche...
vedevo. Dopo gli ultimi giri ho continuato a fare 18, 18,
Cioè,
18,
io
18.
dove è caduto ieri, gli altri 3?
Sì.
Ero fuori, io no, sul blu, come te ieri, uguale. Tu, che mancavano 3, e già lì ho detto basta, Martinator.
Comunque puttana, bellissimo.
Bene, Dio, primo secondo,
Dai,
di 3 oggi faccio, quasi sorpasso loro al T3.
È vero? Grande.
Oggi, cioè, la mia non va sto weekend, raga.
Cosa non va?
Voi andate forte su dritto.
Matteo è di più. Vamos. Guaitamos. Vamos juntos. Eso podio.
No, ma dove ho sbagliato io. Servus.
Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin starting their post-Grand Prix debrief there. Trying to pinch themselves, I'm sure, going, we're 1 and 2 in the championship, mate.
L'acqua c'è? Sì, una Monster. Buona, ma...
Trentuna hanno tanti.
Peccato la benzina.
Oh, è vero. Cazzo, gli ore lì che partivamo, a me mi dava spia benzina, ma a me dopo mi sono dimenticato, ho detto all'inizio ho cambiato.
Ah, sì?
Poi dopo ho detto,
Che ho sbagliato,
cosa
guarda
cazzo
che
cambio?
Che cazzata questa.
Come va, Orge?
Io non avevo proprio grip all'inizio, Mamma mia, all'inizio era ghiaccio.
Potrebbe stare peggio, sai?
Senti un po', ma prendete l'acqua là dentro?
Qua.
Usate?
Qua.
No, se no me butto dentro.
Prendila.
No, io metto la faccia dentro.
Mettila.
Vai.
Guarda il barman.
Okay. Sì, volete un drink?
Ostia. Mamma mia, tostissima la 4.
Io all'inizio
mazza, benissimo.
Fermo.
Sì, non aveva grip all'inizio.
Anche qua poi inizia a vibrare.
Mi si è attaccata la spallina sulla pedana. Guarda.
Sì.
Mi ha tirato la spallina.
Tac, l'ha tenuto dentro.
Sì, è bravo a far quello. Guarda.
Ah, è questo, Dio?
Sì.
No, quello del
Non so se la pedana ha qualcosa, però guarda.
È la cosa della carena, secondo me.
Può essere.
Nuovo kit.
Oddio, ma quanto... Oh, ma lì l'asfalto...
Uno pari, anche ieri uguale ho fatto.
Ma lì l'asfalto...
Si sta togliendo.
Si sta spaccando tutto.
Sì.
Ma poi c'era l'acqua all'ultima curva.
2 strisce.
Ma perché?
Ma anche ieri, quella di ieri.
Io il giro di ricognizione...
Grande, Dio.
Ho visto, ho detto, ma che cazzo è?
Grande pezzo. Y esto no se le ha dado, encendido, no sé qué. Vamos. Grande Matteo. Mis gafas están por ahí, siempre digo, creo.
Sì.
Scusa ragazzi.
È un classico, tutte le serate fa così.
Mi mancano gli occhiali, Dio.
Te lo rubati io,
Jorge Martin making his first mistake of the weekend there, almost destroying our ice bucket. A very welcome, cool treat for our top 3 here in scorching hot conditions in Brazil. From Buriram to Brazil, from Southeast Asia to South America, it is Marco Bezzecchi who is standing tall and proud on the top step of the podium here once again. They can't quite believe what's happening right now, can they, in the factory Aprilia team? For these special moments, and they certainly are. For so long, the Italian kings in MotoGP have been Ducati, but is there being a shifting in the balance of power in MotoGP right now?
Certainly at the moment, Aprilia are in such a sweet spot with a 1 and 2 in the Grand Prix, 1 and 2 in the World Championship. Fabio Di Gianantonio, who's just taking his face out of that ice bowl back in the green room before the podium. And now the sweet taste of third place for him. Second for Jorge Martin. His best result, of course, and first Grand Prix podium in the colours of Aprilia. Aprilia, who are flying their flag high as the dominant force right now at the start of 2026 in MotoGP, with Marco Bezzecchi extending his extraordinary run. 4 consecutive Grand Prix wins, 101 Grand Prix laps led without reply. Catch us if you can. The winning constructor prize, which of course, once again, goes to the boys from Noale. The hard-working men and women of Aprilia have built a monster in 2026. It's Ducati's long-running dominance of MotoGP in both the Riders and the Constructors' Championship coming under some genuine threat now. The Vice-Governor of Goiás, the region of which we're so delighted to have come for this first Brazilian Grand Prix in over 2 decades, presents the trophy to Fabio Di Gianantonio, who of course ended last season with podium in Valencia. That's 2 of the last 3 then for him. Second place to Jorge Martin, a 33rd MotoGP podium. How sweet must this one feel though? After all the sacrifice, the rehabilitation, the recuperation of 2025, he's a genuine contender again in 2026. The governor of Goiás is going to hand over yet another race-winning trophy. Number 8 for Marco Bezzecchi in MotoGP. His winning streak goes on. Aprilia's winning streak goes on as Bez bounces to the top of the MotoGP World Championship.
Marco Bezzecchi and Aprilia are getting very used to hearing the Italian national anthem ring out at the end of MotoGP races, aren't they, recently? As for the 4th Grand Prix in succession, it was simply the Bez. Simply irresistible, isn't he, right now? The 27-year-old Italian who will leave South America and head north to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas for round 3 in 2026. Installed as the new World Championship leader, and potentially, maybe in some people's eyes, installed as now a new MotoGP World Championship favourite. Long season ahead of us. Very, very early doors, but the signs incredibly positive, aren't they? If you're associated with Marco Bezzecchi and Aprilia, work to do. Bit of homework going to be going on at Borgo Panigale, isn't there? After Ducati see Aprilia dominate a Grand Prix once again. That's going to be a very sweet gulp of Prosecco for Marco Bezzecchi and Aprilia. He joins previous Goiânia winners Wayne Gardner, Eddie Lawson and Kevin Schwantz. What a quartet that is to be part of. Marco Bezzecchi joining 3 previous MotoGP World Champions as Goiânia Grand Prix winners. And he did it in some style. He never looked back once he hit the front from the middle of that front row of the grid. And it is now over 100 laps since Marc Marquez had anybody in front of him in a Sunday Grand Prix. Jorge Martin enjoying the celebrations, his first Aprilia podium. Fabio Di Gianantonio, he's got a smile, but he had to grit his teeth in that Grand Prix, revealing to Jack in Park Fair, made a bit of damage to that troublesome left shoulder, of course, which caused him so many issues at the end of 2024. Let's hope that there's no lingering after effects of that one that he's going to carry for the next few Grand Prix, but he really did have to dig deep, didn't he, for that first podium in 2026. Aprilia victorious then here in Goiânia. Double celebrations here in South America as Jorge Martin betters his third in yesterday's Tissot sprint. Second in the Grand Prix, 3.2 seconds he was behind Rezeki when the checkered flag was thrown, after the race distance was slashed from 31 laps to 23 laps. They are now the pictures that are going to be lighting up social media all around the world as we head next to what traditionally is a Marc Marquez stronghold. Can he return to be the king of Kota, having crashed out the lead there last year? We head from South America to North America for one of our most popular visits to the music capital of the world. Next week we'll see you in Austin, Texas.
And Aprilia will want to get over there right now. All Aprilia in Goiânia. Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin 1 and 2. Fabio Di Giannantonio winning the Ducati battle for 3rd and 4th over Marc Marquez. Ayagura backing up Aprilia's incredible afternoon with 5th, passing Alex Marquez on the final lap. Pedro Acosta 7th, losing the World Championship lead as a result. Aldegar Zarco and Raul Fernandez, he top 10. Marini Morbidelli, points for Diogo Moreira at home, also for Alex Rins. And Enea Bastianini, who passed Fabio Quartararo late on. So here's what it means for the World Championship. Marco Bezzecchi 11 points ahead of his teammate Jorge Martin. Pedro Acosta drops 2 to 3rd. Fabio Di Giannantonio and Marc Marquez 4th and 5th. The reigning champion 22 points off the lead. He does though jump ahead of the Trackhouse Aprilias of Ayagura and Raul Fernandez today. Aprilia lead the Constructors' Championship now by 17 points over Ducati. They are 5 clear of KTM, who drop to 3rd. Team standings, Aprilia, well, they've led 101 laps without reply. They have 101 points on the board in the Teams Championship. They are 39 clear of their compatriots from the satellite team Trackhouse. Let's have some highlights then. Aprilia will want to watch. This was the key moment, wasn't it? This was where the race was won for Marco Bezzecchi, blasting past Fabio Di Giannantonio off the line and never looking back. Fabio Quartararo, fortunately, was heading backwards after a poor start from 4th on the grid, losing places to the likes of Martin Acosta and the Cressini Ducatis. Pedro Acosta was on that soft rear tyre, trying to make some early inroads from his 9th place on the grid. An error from Di Giannantonio around turn 1 saw him lose what was at that point 2nd place to Marc Marquez. Acosta did briefly hold 4th, but he lost that to Jorge Martin, who was in the best position to pounce when Di Giannantonio and Marc Marquez locked horns. Pecco Bagnaia was struggling in the midfield, running in 11th place when he crashed at turn 1. Another day that the Ducati Lenovo team will look back on fondly. Cressini were making moves as Alex Marquez took what was 6th place from Pedro Acosta at the end, both passed in the latter stages by Ayagura's Aprilia. But the Digia Marquez battle was not settling down. Di Giannantonio holding P3. Well, Marc Marquez put a big move on him into turn 6. The world champion looking to try and salvage a podium from a difficult afternoon. Unfortunately for him, though, a mistake around turn 11 and 12 saw him lose that third place back to Digia. That was the decisive move in the battle for the final podium spot. First and second, though, those were well and truly locked off by the rampaging Aprilias. Jorge Martin in a second place that he will treasure for some time. His best result since he was crowned world champion late in 2024. But the Bezzecchi bandwagon rolls on to Austin with Marco as the world championship leader. It is 4 in a row for the Bez, who is simply the Bez in Brazil.
First corner as Martin tries to attack Fernandez.
Ralph Fernandez just carved through on Marc Marquez through the right-hander. Ralph Fernandez straight through into second. Acosta certainly attacking. But Acosta clears to Gian Antonio for fifth.
Marc Marquez still stuck in those 131s. Jorge Martin on the inside of Marc Marquez, that's brilliant, into turn 3. This is vintage Jorge Martin.
37 versus 93 for the second day in a row, and Pedro Acosta gets the better of Marc Marquez, who's now down into 5th position. Acosta attacks again on the inside into turn 3. He's just going to try and hang Martin out to dry, and now Marc Marquez is getting involved.
Oh, look at this now as they power through the gearbox. Marc Marquez went into turn 3, 5th. He's now in P3. Acosta goes earlier, he's not even waiting for turn 12. Immediately he attacks Marc going through 8.
Bezzecchi leads from Ralph Fernandez and Pedro Acosta.
What's happened here? Marc Marquez has run wide going into turn 4. He's got a problem.
He's got a puncture.
He's got a puncture.
the rim is damaged.
Wow, Marc Marquez then. What on earth? That is a catastrophic failure there.
Marc Marquez is out. Alex Marquez is down at turn 4.
This tight Grand Prix in some of the most demanding conditions of the entire season.
Oh, now Mir's slowing down.
Unbelievable. Here comes Acosta, then he's coming from a long, long way back on Raul Fernandez. Yeah, Raul Fernandez is really suffering. But Marco Bezzecchi bounces back quite brilliantly in Buram. He does create history. Marco Bezzecchi, the first Aprilia rider in MotoGP to win 3 successive Grand Prix. Pedro Acosta caps off a stunning first Grand Prix weekend of the season for the Spaniard and KTM. Raul Fernandez does nurse himself back to the checkered flag in 3rd place.
Pedro Acosta leads the MotoGP World Championship for the first time in his career. The Shark has arrived.
We have been welcomed back with open arms to our season finale round in 2025. What a pleasure it is to be back here at the Ricardo Tormo circuit. Over 200,000 fans in Valencia. It's lights out, we're racing in our final sprint of 2025 here. Alex Marquez has got the drop briefly, has he? On Marco Bezzecchi. Acosta's been super aggressive. Through the final corner we go then. Alex Marquez finishes it on top of the sprint podium here in Valencia. Who will be the Grand Prix winner in the final showdown? Who is going to take the spoils? What's happened here?
Morbidelli's dropped it before he's even got to his grid position. He's due to start from 7th. They might have to delay the start for this if they can't get him off the grid.
It's lights out and we are racing this final showdown here in Valencia. It's another brilliant start from pole position by the Aprilia of Marco Bezzecchi. Gian Antonio drops across the nose of Pedro Acosta, so Digia had on a good start there.
Miller was launching it up the inside there of Juan Mir as we see contact there. That's Bagnaia and Zarco, and that really does cap off Pecco Bagnaia's miserable 2025.
Poor old Pecco Bagnaia.
Johan Zarco has a long lap penalty. Raul Fernandez has passed Fabio Di Gianantonio on this lap, up into 3rd place.
On board then now with Acosta. Now he's going to seize that inside line on the Gianantonio. Acosta now picks him off for 4th. This has been coming. Raul Fernandez now up into 2nd. The problem is, has he let Bezzecchi get too far up the road in terms of the victory?
Martin slowing down with Jorge Martin, retires from the Grand Prix, receives a round of applause from his team. Much more to come from Jorge Martin in 2026.
Acosta.
Clearly, he is a lot faster than the 73.
Through on the inside of Alex Marquez. There's more pain coming the way here for Alex.
Digia's stuck up behind Alex Marquez. And he comes through, and Alex Marquez, who has to check up to avoid running into Fabio Di Gianantonio. That move was also cut.